And here we go as we come to the culmination, the near culmination. Don't worry, we can still have more matches after this, but this one is the one that both Sun Phoenix and I, and I'm sure a lot of you guys in chat, have been the most excited for. End of the qualifiers, last match here for Five Nights at LAN versus Rage Quit Anomaly, and Sun Phoenix has been touting this game since earlier today. How are you feeling for this, my friend?
I am so looking forward to it. Look, if you look at the breakdown of the groups in this qualifier, right? You've got 3 groups, 5 teams in each. Now, each group has one team where you go, right, that team is qualifying. There's no doubt about that. It's a battle between the other 4s for who gets that second slot in that group. This group is the group with 2 top teams in it. Each one of 2 teams, only one can come on top of the group. That'll affect your seeding for the LAN in October. But which one, we really don't know coming into this group. This is the only group where we go, things are actually up for grabs for that top spot. And this is the match that we've been waiting for. Both of these teams have not dropped a map so far throughout this qualifier, as we would have expected given the caliber of the players on these teams. And now is when we get to decide which team is the best in Group B.
Best in Group B counts for so much when we've got seeding on the line for that LAN up in October. Down there in Cape Town at the 8K Arena, I'm sure a lot of you are getting very excited about it. A lot of the teams are already celebrating their ability to get through to it. And now we get to really see what top-level Overwatch looks like. These guys are well-established teams. So without further ado, let's get into those teams that we're looking at. Of course, lots of names that I'm sure you guys are going to recognize. And starting with Five Nights at LAN. I mean, this to me, Sun Phoenix, I made the joke, it feels like a clash of the cows, the admins in a lot of way. Because, I mean, Mito and Jesse. Mito, I will be so disappointed if we don't see the Tourbillon at some stage. And then Stalker, renowned as one of the esports committee members. Smiley, who does all the work, and gonna be missing her in chat here. And then Squishy out there on support.
Yeah, Smiley handles, I think, all the social media as well, so all the Twitter posts and stuff that go out. She's responsible for that. As you say, a team, all 5 of these names will be familiar with. Jesse, I think, is the newest of comers to the squad, coming in for Leica Luke. Apparently, he's an upgrade from Leica Luke, so that'll tell you everything you need to know, given how good we know Luke is. Keep an eye on Stalker here on this camera. He's a bit of a character. So when he knows he's on camera, we're going to see some gesticulating potentially. But a very, very talented team of players. But rumor has it, shall we say, not the hardest working of rosters. They like to come in, they like to wing it, they like to express themselves in the context of Overwatch, but not always putting in all the hours to put the synergy together. But they have, all of them, done that in the past on a team before. So these are players that know how to win. These are players that know the game of Overwatch like the back of their respective hands. So looking forward to see what they can do against a very, very scary opposition.
Looking very happy and confident there on those mics, under those cameras there. I had the luxury of meeting Mito a couple of weeks ago at the ACGL event. He came to support his brother, who was actually in my school team, and I had no idea.
Wow, so, small world.
Small world, right? But you can see gamers run in the family right there. On the other side, Rage Quit Anomaly, again, a pedigree of experience right now. Kuragari, Rinku Haireru, Lord of Terrans, KK, and John Wack, and of course, Lord of Terrans, who's been a referee of so many of these matches and works hard in the background, and then KK as well, running so much for our admin side there. And so, I mean, in terms of more than just their experience in the admin side, all of these guys, look at John Wax sitting there as classy as possible. Everyone else, again, smiles on the face, and Rinku gets extra points for starting and continuing to revolutionize the admin.
Yeah, the fashion game is on point here for everybody. Nice to see pretty much almost everybody except John Wack and I think Smiley on the other side with cameras. So throughout the series, we'll get to see where they're at. We'll try and do some what do they call it? Behavioral understanding. What do they call it when you look at expressions?
Psychological profiling and all of that.
But there's a phrase for it that I can't remember now. But we'll try and figure out exactly what's going in their head just from the expression on their faces. I can't see that going wrong at all. But Rage Quit Anomaly, if I was to call Five Nights a team that likes to wing it, likes to lean on their own mechanical brilliance as individuals, Anomaly is a team that is the total opposite. That's not to say they don't have talent, they're not good, but this is a team that spends a lot of time playing together, a lot of time in scrims. They've got, I think Blur is their coach or their manager, so they've got a lot of people helping them be the best they can be as a unit. They love Overwatch, maybe not all the time, but he does, right? But they are a team who I expect to see synergize very effectively and to have organized strategies. Five Nights is a team where you might see Stalker running the Doomfist when it's not the ideal build because he's feeling hot at that time. You know what I mean? He feels like he wants to do some punching to dominate. So, two different philosophies for how to approach Overwatch and find the most success. And I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic we see develop as the series goes on.
Yeah, I think a big part of it, like you say, is Five Nights might look at taking the game onto their own individual shoulders. And if Anomaly can identify those key players, someone like Stalker, who you know is going to be coming into your backline and causing problems, if you can identify that and have a preemptive strategy for that, as opposed to trying to react on the fly and call it out, then it gives Rage Quit a much better shot into this. But we are, of course, starting off where else but Lijiang Tower, our control point for the map. We have seen it time and time again. And before we even get into the bans, what is it, Sun Phoenix, about South Africans that love Lijiang Tower so much?
It's a great map that's been in the game since the beginning. So it's a comfort pick for all the teams. You know what to expect on this map. The map is very varied, so you'll get a good sense of what each team, of what your opponent wants to do on this map and what their player style is if you get through most of the maps on Lijiang Tower. And I think people just like it. They just feel comfortable on it, and it's something to be said for starting a series in a space where you're comfortable. Taking a look at the hero bands here, these are some powerful hero bands. We've seen a lot of messing around, I hesitate to call it messing around, but interesting picks on the bands for the first map. But this is a set of bands that says, we are taking this seriously. Anomaly banning out the Pharah, they don't want to mess around with that. They want to have more focus be on a more neutral game on the ground level. Five Nights at Land banning the Divas. They're saying, strongest hero in the game, we don't want to deal with that map, number one.
100%. I mean, when you look at Pharah, when you think of boot potential, Lijiang in general has got some of the most tempestuous places that you can lose half a team without even realizing it. And then, like you say, Diva, defense matrix to mitigate damage. You've got all the armor to sustain, peel ability for days. I mean, great band, in my opinions. So looking forward, we're looking for our typical brawl, I would say, in our control center. Junkrat is obviously something that could come out. May has shown a lot of proficiency there. And so it really comes down to how these two teams want. I think it's going to be a little bit more open when we get to the more open maps, you know, the night markets and stuff like that. But we typically do start. Oh, get to see. This is Gardens, right?
Yeah, this is Gardens. Interesting, very interesting. And the Pharah ban immediately becomes relevant here. A very popular pick. We saw how good Rafiki was on the Pharah on night market, so definitely a hero that throughout Lijiang can be a dominant force. So having that not in the game, you can immediately see that effect that has. We've got an echo on both teams, and I think on at least one of those we might have seen that replaced with a Pharah potentially. So interesting to see that. Stalker coming out on the Doomfist, but that he's not a one trick. That's obviously his best hero and his most well-known hero, but I'll be interested to see how readily he switches characters. On the other side, this is a pretty standard dive in Overwatch 2.
Very much the same mentality for both of them. It comes down to who can execute better on their respective comfort. Tank picks and Stalker are going to be the one to make that first move, try getting to the back line. Again, the rest of the team is now just looking for a bit of purchase, trying to rotate around, keep their footing. We'll see Five Nights playing a very keep-away game, but unfortunately they have been tracked down. Smiley, the first one to fall on the point nearby, and John Wack going to make the second kill count. Kuragiri, the only casualty on the other side, and other than that, still quite a neutral fight here. Still not determined. That's not the greatest play. Squishy going to be able to teleport, but it doesn't go far enough. And it means that Anomaly are going to be able to take up a great first fight for themselves. Just chase their opponents round and round the inside and manages to start some possession ticking up.
Very, very clean, very disciplined fight from Anomaly. Yes, it was a bit dragged out, but that's how this is going to look. We've got two teams with so much mobility, a decent amount of sustain. Finding kills is not going to be easy when you've got opponents as strong as Five Nights is. So you've just got to sit it out. Don't put yourself in a position and pounce when you see an opportunity. And Stalker, he's the one getting stalked on this occasion. He'll go down to start of the fight.
Yeah, it's all about coordination, realizing when someone's used their key cooldowns and now can be pounced upon. 3 people going towards it. Good pulse bomb takes out Lord of Terran, but it's a little late into the fight as Rinko Areru claims the 3rd kill here for Anomaly, and Anomaly keep up going with that percentage. You see Stalker trying to get back into this after his early execution. He has to just run for the hills, and 50% looms here for Anomaly.
I wonder how quick we'll see Stalker switch. I said that earlier, but it's not really working. It's a really hard team to execute into because they're playing so patient. Come in, they're waiting for you, they punish, but Stalker, Smiley rather, finds the opening pick on her opposite number, and immediately they parlay that into a 2nd kill. No supports means no team fight, really.
Oh, an attempt at the duplicate to try and stall things out, but unfortunately, no chance for Rinko Areru to delay this any longer. Lord of Terran's gone angry in monkey mode, and so can at least keep this point in their possession for a decent amount of time. Drop down the bubble at the end, trying desperately to give his team some sort of avenue back into this fight, but a double kill removes both of the supports, and Jesse even taking down Lord of Terran. So finally we see Five Nights at land managing to break through the deadlock, and 79% is still quite a decent put up here for Anomaly.
And more than that, Altruism, 4 outs, 5 outs in the back for Five Nights. So they won that fight almost completely dry. And normally you'd say, okay, you've got to play perfect from here. But they've got so many opportunities to use the LTs as a team. And they start now with the Katrina Rush and John Wack, the first to fall.
Oh, that was a big boop, I think, over the edge. But it seems like everyone with the mobility to come back in. Still, it's Five Nights with the majority of the ultimates being thrown. And after 2 of them, Mito picking up a triple kill to end things off here. Still quite comfortable. Now it's all about ultimate variations and who can keep their temperament, not need as much as Anomaly now trying desperately. They have actually flipped the point for a while, so that stops Five Nights from being able to capitalize on the percentage points from that. But
that was actually huge. I was wondering what they were doing. I was like, guys, you're just wasting time. And I heard the ticking, but it didn't clock that. They'd actually, it was Kurigari who'd gone back, got the kill, capped the point. So that was really heads up. That means a lot of time wasted as far as Five Nights is concerned. They've still got 2 ultis to work with here, and they'll get the opening pick. Once again, John Wack dropping down first. So he needs to just alter his approach just a tiny bit so he can stay alive longer in these team fights.
Big play there to cut the team in half on the middle of their rotations. You know, that's the one big thing about these very mobile squads. You need to either be moving as a complete unit and not leave any stragglers to get picked off because you know your opponent's going to pounce on them, or you need to be completely splitting the field and trying to direct their attention away from you. And right now, Five Nights with all the confidence to go forward. Of course, Stalker with this meteoric strike and gives it all the space. And 2 people off the edge of the map there. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I mean, and Five Nights will take that.
Make it 3 now, but I think that might have been somebody falling off the map and then getting teleported to Terran.
Yeah.
So that's all I can think, because there was no reason that they weren't trying to reset at that point. So we'll have to wait and see. Can they get in here? They've got that sound barrier. They've got almost Primal Rage as well on the side of Anomaly. So they're going to start with the sound barrier on the side of Five Nights. This could be an explosive fight, but John Mack drops without popping his ulti.
Lord of Terran has at least made their way to the point, but they're basically alone here. Kurigari, the last resilient person with them, has to get pushed off there, gets taken out, and while overtime ticks down, you can't afford to see that. Just manages to touch from the ground behind it. John Wag with the sound barrier does at least keep the point ticking up for a while. Mito with the duplicate going to mean that it's very difficult for these mobile characters to get any sort of purchase, but great play from John Wag to at least avoid any damage for the longest period of time, wasting that entire duplicate. Still Anomaly with a chance into this. Let's even pick up some kills of their own. Duplicates onto the Kiriko, just desperately trying to keep themselves alive. Takes towards the sky. The good Lord of Terra back into the fight, but it's just too much too soon for Five Nights at land. They're just systematically dealing with any of the insurgents into their point. Nice cleanse, keep everyone alive. Lord of Terra, the last one to fall, you think. John Wack is back on the point. Kitsune Rush to just add a little bit more potency to the Five Nights cleanup. They will eventually get this. You've got to think, no way for Anomaly to come back. It is eventually just Five Nights locking it out after they regain that point.
Funnily enough, altruism, given what I said at the beginning, it kind of felt like a little bit of ill discipline there from Anomaly, it has to be said. I think I mentioned it while we were watching. A lot of unnecessary early deaths from John Wack, especially just getting caught out by themselves and then getting taken down. So that's something they're going to want to clean up, because it seems at least like he was isolated from his team on a number of occasions, and that's not really what you want as a Lucio. You want to be with your team, and of course we can talk about Reddit Lucios and that kind of approach to the game, but that's not seen that much at this level of play. So fingers crossed he can adjust to that. Now a total switch up of compositional styles, though. We've got both teams running Brawl, both teams running Mei, Cassidy, Ramatra, identical compositions, a total mirror matchup. This should be fascinating to watch.
Always exciting to see which one comes down to the execution. Early Mayward separates off the center of the fight for both squads. Immortality Field comes out on both sides. Anomaly's one was just a little bit later, so they have the advantage into this. Lord of Terran falls so dangerously low. Stalker on the other side as well. Eventually, May has to walk out, and every player somehow manages to stay alive through that first clash. And we now go down towards the circle area. Jesse finally falls, and Mito also isolated from the rest of the squad, going to be taken out shortly afterward. Mito actually somehow staying alive with the smallest bit of HP. John Wack just not able to clinch that. It finally does come through, but it's taken so long. Now has to appeal back to the rest of the squad. Stalker trying to make a menace of themselves. There's too much damage surrounding him right now, and eventually goes to take down 30 HP eventually, and Smiley desperately has to back up now as the rest of Anomaly can once more start taking the offensive. They've got the point up, but they're very happy with this dragging out for a little bit longer. Jesse, late into the fight, does manage to claim one, and actually claims the second. It could be a time for this to be turned in the favor of Five Nights. They've got a lot of players here. Jesse cleans up the entire field.
What a mess, Altruism. That first fight, I've never seen one fight defined by a single spell quite like that. You called it the late usage of the or the lamp kept the Anomaly in position and allowed them to get onto point and hold that, cap that, and that means 36% in spite of a team fight loss. They can come in now with a lot of ults, both team with a lot of ults, but the Annihilation might be the key from Lord of Tens, but no, ulti huge in this occasion.
And yet everyone somehow manages to escape and now re-engages with the sound barrier thanks to Smiley. Stalker's angry at the beginning of this fight and throws in that Annihilation. Anomaly seem to just try and force that a little bit too much. And Mayward from both sides were leaving a lot of space to maneuver around, and no one being able to be pasted in there and frozen up means Five Nights able to clean that off using two of their ultimates with two still in hand.
Expensive though. I think it was 3 ultimates from Five Nights, including the sound barrier. So they're coming in at an disadvantage here. Oh, Terran Law dropping so low forward now with the ulti, the Blizzard at the ready, doing so much work, but the Annihilation in Five Nights back line. But no, it's Anomaly losing out here once again. Five Nights too sharp on the initiation.
Stalker, he's just so good, and Lord of Terran getting a little bit caught up in his own game plan there. Didn't realize how much of the team was separated behind. The May wall here came out perfectly from Mito, and I mean the freeze, the Blizzard there managing to do it. Jesse now setting up on angle with this high noon, does manage to get behind them. Their Mortality Field is down and holding on to it for so long, still doesn't manage to get anyone. The smallest of leaves and pot plants separating this fight, and it's evolved into that typical neutral fight. Anomaly though seems to be a little bit on the favor. Not if Jesse has anything to say about it as both teams lose their Lucio. There's Anomaly though that has managed to claim the point, finally getting that percentage ticking up in their favor. Up to Jesse to see if they can get out. This would be a horrible late stagger if he gets taken, but challenging and holding his ground.
Moving forward now, they popped Amp Matrix behind Terran Lord here as he looks to get aggressive onto the enemy back line, trying to get main to ice block, does so. Enemy tank low as well, so Anomaly in prime position here. I don't even really feel like they won that last team fight. This time it's a red man popping the dead eye. It is going to be Kuragari. Does quite a bit of damage there to the enemy tank. Will not take Stalker down though as Lord of Terrans once again in Nemesis form. Looking for Smiley. Smiley with the punch. Can they find more? Yes they can. Mito goes down. Rinku has the Blizzard at the ready, but it should be surplus to requirements here. But Stalker popping off. Jesse popping off. But he just gets the Nemesis form and he can start punching away. He sees his target Jesse on the right hand side. He's going to look to get them down. He will take him down and they will secure this point. All even now, Altruism.
really came down to Lord of Terran going for that backline and putting so much pressure, understanding that the Mei didn't have cryofuse available, and now comes back in. Great free Stalker, going to be the prime target. What walled up into the air still does go down. An Annihilation combo with that afterwards means that any trickling last remnants of Five Nights going to be hard pressed to go in. Yeah, Jesse with a desperate attempt to pull off some heroics, nearly claimed a couple of lives, but just didn't have the luxury of charging up for long enough. And Anomaly going to level up our score.
What an absolute mess that was, Altruism.
And a play-by-play caster job is a tough one sometimes.
Thankfully, we got two play-by-play guys here, so we can kind of just handle that. But that was, I think Five Nights will be kicking themselves because they were in control of that pretty comfortably, and they kind of just let Anomaly come through, let the tank move on to the point, Lord of Terrans, and cap that point, and all of a sudden puts them on the back foot. It's the second time we've seen this. First it happened on Gardens, and it just means it changes the dynamic of the team fight completely if you're not going to clean the team fight up immediately from the perspective of Five Nights. All of a sudden, you need to get on point, you need to clean things up. The stall is in favor of the other team, and that can make it a little bit harder to play. So Anomaly, we're really pleased with how that turned out. But Stalker says, you know what, let's go back to what we're comfortable on. This map, a lot better suited to it than Control Center would be. So he's back on the Stalker. Otherwise, very similar compositions as what we saw on Gardens.
Very similar. Everyone else now. Desperate attempt from Squishy to try and get out the bird on the Winston. He has no jump, and Smiley comes in absolute clutch there. Lord of Terrans having to rethink what they did. I mean, there's so much boot potential from this Five Nights side. Now they've got their point up and ticking for themselves. They're going to be very happy with how that started. And it didn't even really require so much ultimates being built.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 600 HP boop right there, 600 damage boop. Really, really perfect from Smiley. That's the risk you take, though, as a monkey jumping in there. There's every chance that you could get boot back after jumping, and that means you've got no way out. So unfortunate for Lord of Terrans. But they're back in position now, 17% rather, to the good or the blue team. So Five Nights happy just to sit on point now and try and hold it down.
Bit of a change-up comes out. Five Nights worried about that counter dive, and or at least normally worried about the counter dive. Swapping John Wax onto that Brigitte gives them the safety a little bit in the back line. Gives Lord of Terran a lot of space to start moving forward. He's going to be able to claim Jesse at the beginning of this fight. And it is these two sports fighting it out, keeping each other alive in the back line. It is too much. The dive forward from aggression from Five Nights collapses onto the back line, and eventually it's Lord of Terran now coming back to find a shambles of his team.
5% away from ulti there, Lord of Terrans. If you'd been able to get that, that would have been so huge, because he can go back to point and buy more time, because once again, they flipped the point during that team fight. So that's 16% less that Five Nights have in terms of their percentage. So that's going to be unfortunate for them. But they do end up winning the team fight, and that is obviously all that matters here. You can give away the point as long as you win the team fight and take the point back. In short, great work from the supports, keeping each other alive, but there's just too much pressure. 1, 2, 3 blue players up here. Count them out. It's not looking good for Anomaly right now.
I mean, we said that Anomaly was maybe going to be the more disciplined of the two, but I mean, that was just great synergy coming out. You see still Lord of Terran trying desperately to fight this out late into a dead fight. I mean, at least as long as they don't die, they won't regret this at any stage of maybe trying to bait out some ultimates while their supports try and regather themselves. But it's once more this jump into the backline, and now we've got two tanks to worry about. Big Zap comes out there. It is the rally being popped early, but John Wick pays with their life immediately afterwards, getting no value from that ultimate. Five Nights, they've just thrown exactly the right amount into this. It's going to be 3 ultimates from them, and they've forced the equal number out from their opponents. Anomaly now with desperate last attempts at keeping this overtime alive. John Wack onto the point, gets taken out summarily in that action. KK also unable to stall this for too long. Desperate pulse bomb attempt onto the jumping monkey, but Lord of Terran, you can't think that it's going to have too long for this world, and does just end up delaying this for a second. So Five Nights, after synergistically dismantling the backline with such a good game plan, do manage to confirm Lijiang Tower for themselves.
Damn, Jesse with some very, very impressive tracking here on the Tracer, just pumping the damage out, taking down people. As you say, it does feel like this team, Five Nights, and this man is the more synergized of the two teams here, which is not what I would have expected. But of course, we weren't trying to talk down about Five Nights' ability to play as a unit. We know how good they are. We know how sharp they are as individuals. And part of being sharp as an individual is understanding the ebb and flow of an Overwatch match and what you need to be looking out for, both in terms of what your teammates are doing and in terms of what your opponents are getting up to. So that really serving Five Nights well there. And of course, every time they play together, this is their style. This is what they excel at. It's using Stalker as the tip of the spear, but more than that, synergizing Jesse with Mito from the sky, and there was somebody else in there, I'm not sure, it might have been Squishy. We know how much damage he can do, and just punishing the backline of your opponents. And we can see Lord of Terrans, he's trying to do the same thing on the other side with Kuragari's Tracer, but there's just a sharpness to that style that Five Nights has that's just lacking just that little bit from Anomaly.
Yeah, Anomaly was just forced into a little bit of a reactionary play, I feel like. Five Nights was dictating that. I mean, you could see they were in a great position. They set themselves up well before fights. They were able to then counter, the very slow 3, 2, 1. We're going to take all the time in the world and go together to execute there. It was not a single player who was able to confirm lots of kills. It was instead them systematically going, all right, I've done half the damage. You put in a little bit here, get a third member involved for a last boop or something. And I mean, when it started off there with Five Nights suffering that early boop of Stalker off the map, I thought that they were going to be hard-pressed, at least, to come back into this. But, I mean, just Rage Quit Anomaly, they tried. And you could even see by the team compositions, putting John Wack onto the Brigitte means that they knew exactly what their opponents were going to be trying, and there was just too much of an overwhelming presence. Five Nights executed it too flawlessly for even the Brigitte and a combo to survive through.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who. John Wack wasn't in the last time we watched him. Who was he in for?
BTS fan, I think.
Oh, is it Babs? Okay, interesting. Because Babs is a DPS player, no?
Yes, sorry, Queen Scarlet.
Okay, interesting. I don't know much about Queen Scarlet either, but it feels like John Wack is trying to fill a slot that he's not that comfortable on. You can see by the way he plays the Lucio, he wants to get in, he wants to get involved, right? So the Brigitte, it's a real mental shift that you have to make if you're going to play the Brigitte against that composition. He wasn't playing it wrong. He was often, the previous support was Restio-san, and that makes perfect sense to me, actually. That you can feel what is missing, I suspect, when you lose out on Restio-san. So yeah, it's going to be hard because you could see the way that Terran is playing is a little bit not on the same way as the rest of his team. Or let's say Terran and Kuragari, for example. And it's because of the pressure that the backline is under constantly. From Stalker, from Mito, from Jesse especially. So it's tough. They've got a little bit of time now to chat, to figure out what they want to do. And how they want to approach things. And of course, they can also adjust their bans to try and solve the problems that they're being faced. But there's no panacea in terms of bans. There's no one hero that Stalker and the rest of Five Nights is good at that you can ban and be like, cool. If we just get a game without that hero, we're in the clear. No. Yes, we talk about Stalker's Doomfist, but he's perfectly capable of playing any number of tank heroes.
Yeah. It really is hard when you're going into a lineup with as diverse a skill pool and hero pool as Five Nights. I mean, even Rage Quit, they've shown a lot of diversity in terms of which heroes that were coming through. It really did come down to, it felt like, the game style. How did you want to play this? Who had the better understanding of what the roles of their characters was in the overall grand scheme of things?
Yeah.
But that's just a control point. I mean, it was a hard fight. We didn't see a 2-0 sweep in any regard. I mean, everyone was touching it. It was almost 99-99 on on all three of those points. So, I mean, this is turning into the clash that we thought it would be. And we now head to Runasapi, the push map, which has seen a lot of favor from teams. A surprising amount of push coming out in this tournament, son.
Yeah, it does surprise me for sure. And especially Runasapi, because when we have seen push map, as in the map type, it's been Colosseo. The teams have been comfortable. And again, I believe it's a comfort thing. Runasapi is literally the most recent map added to Overwatch, I think. So Colosseo is one of the original push maps. So teams are very comfortable there. But it's interesting to me, and maybe Anomaly, this is an ace they had up their sleeve. Like I said, I believe that this is a team that puts a lot of time in. And maybe they looked at this map and said, we can get really good at this map. other teams are not going to be looking at this map. They're not going to be trying to get good at it. We can do that as an advantage that we then have coming into series. Five Nights at LAN, they're going to ban the Mauga. Anomaly are going to ban the Baptiste. The Baptiste, a very interesting ban in my opinion. What do you think?
Baptiste, as soon as I see that, they're going for Brawl style, right? Anomaly, the fact that they don't want to run the Baptiste means they've got something in their mind. I would be very surprised to see Anomaly trying to run the dive, and especially knowing that Five Nights is just as comfortable, if not more so, running the dive against you. So it's now just a case of we are wanting to force them into a Brawl style without the Baptiste to back it in the back line. And I mean, that provides a lot of opportunity. We so rarely see it. Five Nights banning out the Mauga is a very interesting one for me. You're going, okay, what sort of big, beefy heroes are we wanting to run that Mauga would then just chew through? I mean, I'll be very surprised to see something like a Roadhog coming out here in any case. Other than that, both of these seem to have calculation behind them. You know, these are two teams that are too experienced to just be doing this as a chaos pick.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you think about this, you're trying to think of what hero counts other heroes. By banning this hero, what are you also taking out of the pool? Or maybe there's a sort of mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Mind games at play, but you ban consecutively. So RQA first banned BAP, and then 5K banned Mauga. So I don't know if banning the BAP makes Mauga scarier. I don't really see an obvious way that that comes to bear, but I'm not sure. The Mauga ban is very interesting to me. Like you say, I almost feel like it would suit 5K better to ban Ramatra, because I feel like Anomaly looked a lot more comfortable on the Ramatra when compared to how Five Nights looked on Control Center, and that was the only map Anomaly won. That's where they looked their best. Whereas when they had a more divey style, they were kind of bundled out. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they just don't like playing against the Mauga, what it does to the game. It's a very interesting ban.
Maybe you're just not wanting to run an Ana, and Mauga almost necessitates that. So you just go, okay, we don't particularly want that. Let's make sure that they can't pick it. And instead, we do get our lineups. Five Nights going for, again, quite a pokey-proddy. Like, I almost call this like a hybrid Brawl style when you've got a Junker Queen on the front line. I mean, it's amazing to me that both sides are going to be picking out a very similar composition. The only difference there, Mito on the Venture and Kuragari on the Tracer.
Yeah, this is clearly the meta on this point, on this map, because both of these teams are so similar in their neutral picks. It tends to be very similar, which tells me it's probably the right thing to do given the level that these teams play at. So that's interesting to me that they're both immediately like, yeah, this is the right comp. Let's try and execute together. And I wonder how quickly we'll see the teams adapt compositionally, whether one team will bend and be like, okay, it's not working for us. Let's try and counter their opponents rather than out-execute them.
Yeah. Well, right now we see the clash of the queens of the points.
Wow.
Water Terran comes out a very significant victor there. Tries for the carnage over the top. Doesn't manage to get anything. Instead, it's the DPS lineup from Five Nights that's finding a lot of purchase here. Gets a double kill, and so it's a 3v2 on the point. Decent attempt with Gracie to come out. Does not manage to land with the axe, and instead, Lord of Terran's now nearly alone on the point. It does at least have the ability to sustain for a while, but not when you go into that much damage. 4 people against you and a quick switch off from Stalker.
Okay. Yeah, no thanks. He immediately got blown up on the Junker Queen in that first team fight, and he came back on the Doomfist like, okay, let's go back to normal. But his team actually carried him through that. Once again, though, I hate to keep harping on this point. John Wack out of position and taken down. He was trying to duel the enemy Kiriko, but Squishy is one of the better Kirikos we have in South Africa. Former DPS player, as I always point out. So he's perfectly capable of taking those kind of duels, and I'm not on top there, but Stalker in the house, he gets the opening kill with Mito on the venture. So yeah, once again, good start to the fight for Five Nights.
The Venture versus Tracer battle between these two teams is so interesting because I tend to favor Venture a little bit more. Their ability to chunk down a very mobile character is really good. 1 or 2 little blasts, but always got that get out of jail free card. I mean, a very, very scrappy fight continues right now as Bestie picks up a double kill to eventually put a little bit more pain into this, and Anomaly eventually fall towards the end of that fight. Still dragging it out for a long time, and stopping the payload at least, but Five Nights now close to huge amounts of ultimates.
Jesse is having quietly a very, very good series so far. The Tracer, we got to see a little bit of that towards the end of Lijiang. He was dominant. In this fight, he picked up 3 or 4 kills with dashes, and now he's got the blade. He's going to go right in. Great Souza keeps him alive for one slice, but not for a second. He will track down John Wick to take him out. Both supports out. That is a scalpel if I've ever seen one, Altruism.
Yeah, and now the big problem for Anomaly, they've still got players stuck in the back line. They are going to be hard-pressed to get out here. I mean, Genji's mobile, but can you really... Actually decides to go back in, I'm thinking maybe of delaying and dying on the point, but massive stagger comes out. And Five Nights, without having to drop anything more than just a naked Dragon Blade, going to be very content that the payload keeps moving.
Yeah, and it's hard because they've got the sound barrier on the side of Five Nights. So the Anomaly's own blade is not going to be nearly as strong as we just saw from Jesse. So this could be a rough team fight. That's more push here, and every centimeter is so good. Lord Returns finds the opening pick.
Oh, really nice rampage through the center here, and a late beat into the fight from Five Nights. It's too little, too late, as both of the DPS is out, and Lord of Terran's going to take advantage of this. Actually, the teleport in from the Kiriko means that a very dangerous position for Squishy to be in. Normally taking control of this point, they still have to worry about Stalker, but I mean, Stalker is so little HP and has no one there behind them. Eventually, a slice and dice takes care of the last one, and Five Nights have some rethinking to do.
That was so key, getting the sound barrier. It was actually quite a poor sound barrier from Smiley. I don't often criticize Smiley. She knows her Lucio way better than I do, but I think she'll even admit that that came through a little bit late, and now they don't have it for this man right here. Rinku, he's got the blade ready to go, under pressure, but now he'll go forward with the Kitsune Rush.
Well, Blade does at least help out, or gets helped out by the sound barrier, manages to get into the back line, desperately healed up from 24 HP, allows him to re-engage now between Rinku and Lord of Terran. They're putting all the pressure on the front line. Eventually, Stalker manages to get up into the air. A nice bit of Gracie work onto the Kiriko, and eventually spells doom here for Squishy, and a great slice. His entire toolkit so comfortable in the hands of Lord of Terran. They keep it going. Five Nights once more now turned aside with no ultimates left.
Something I've learned from playing a lot of this hero recently, Altruism, is that so much of your success on this hero comes down to how good you are with Gracie. If you can chuck that knife out, if you can hit targets and pull them in, the extra damage is not insignificant, but also just bringing them into range of the axe is so valuable. So that can be what separates a good jungle team from a great one. And so far, Lord of Terrans has been great, but it goes down here. It's not going to be good for them winning this team fight.
It's going to be hard for Anomaly. A big pulse bomb kill here or two could be important, but it needs to come earlier. Instead, it just decides to hold on to everything as Five Nights rallies and secures a very clean kill without any ultimates, finally building up another blade there for Jesse. I mean, Anomaly, they at least managed to get some payload progress. Oh, that's a big pick.
Nice. Once again, Lord of Terrans finds that opening pick with the axe. He's been so good on this hero so far. They have to be careful, though, not to overextend here. They're going to try and stop him from getting force spawn once again. Squishy is his target. You can clearly see his plan, your Lord of Terrans. He wants to take down the enemy supports. That's his goal. And so far, it's working out well with Squishy, man. If you let him out, he can do the damage, and don't really want to try and take a trade against him.
No. I mean, Gracie is also, you talked about how important it is. Being able to delay that pullback also gives your team time to set up. The team time to set up really comes down to Jesse. Double kill on both of the supports to open this fight up is the best start you could possibly want. And Five Nights looked with an entire strategy in mind from before that fight even started. They managed to execute it perfectly. Again, a very cheap fight for them, and going to be content to deny Anomaly any sort of further progress.
It's really hard for John Wack here. He's 100% out of phase with Jesse's ultimate, right? He's on close to 50% when the ultimate was just used, which means he'll have it, and in theory, the ultimate will be nowhere near ready to go. So it's going to be really tough for them. They do have the pulse bomb here from Kurigari, but once again, Squishy finds that headshot. The kunai is just too strong. Kurigari is struggling to find value out of the Tracer.
So powerful, and Stalker doing a great job right now of separating Lord of Terrans from the rest of the squad. Doesn't need to kill. And opens up all the space now for this tectonic initiation. Manages to find the kill on KK. Not a lot more, but I mean, the damage is done to be followed up so quickly by people like Jesse, who's always been on the ball when it comes to securing the end of those kills. And Five Nights continues their lead progression.
And they've got 3 ultis in the bag now, halfway almost towards another blade, and it's going to be rough for them to try and hold this. I think they should try and lean on the blade, but this time Smiley has her ultimate, and I'm sure this time she won't make the same mistake. She'll hold it. Once again, Mito in the backline, though, doing so much damage.
Nice Kitsune rush to start it off with.
Oh, there we go.
Ultimates, but eventually does pay it with their life as Squishy trades out the Kiriko. It's Jesse being forced by Smiley, and the blade dropped immediately after the beat. It's a very interesting call into this Rinku. Doesn't get any value and goes down very quickly. Nice dodge by Stalker onto the Rampage means that Lord of Terran is at least keeping their health alive, but not confirming any kills afterwards. Now needs to try and slice and dice through the entire team. Reinforced by the Kitsune Rise does give them a lot more chance to do more damage and get these cooldowns up. So certainly halting the progress of the payload. But it's just a halt, no turnaround forthcoming as Five Nights approach their final goal.
Such an expensive team fight. Both teams throwing pretty much everything into that team fight, but the excavation, the tectonic overcharge. I haven't looked it up. I'm just assuming that's what the spell is called. Mito's ultimate could be the team fight winner here. He's the only one anyone approaching the ultimate, as I say that the blade comes out, and Jesse, we know how good he is with this. Stalker finds that 1 kill with the help of the Shimada bro, and that might just be the end of this match.
Hooker struggling to latch onto everyone as everyone going down very low. Great cleanse comes out from Squishy to be able to keep everyone alive. It does open the space for Kurigari to get the stick onto Smiley. There is still life here for the Anomaly side as they're pushing around. Forga still causing the problems. Mito does bring up the ultimate, uses that to chunk through any last remaining HP. Now it's going to be a desperate try and touch the point as 2 players come in here from Anomaly. They've also got a lot of Terrans on the front line, so that's great. It's Rinko Hareru who eventually goes down. The snipe accuracy from Lord of Terrans. Sorry, that's an easier way to say that. Really proving out there. I just got caught up in the excitement as Anomaly. They've got 47 seconds left and a long way to go.
Yeah, it's like 3, maybe 4 team fight wins they need to get on the trot here. So it's not going to be easy for them, but we've seen crazy things in Overwatch, and Anomaly are going to be looking to create an anomaly of their own now. Almost up to the ultimate here, Lord of Terrans, the Rampage. They're halfway to the blade as well. They nearly got a pulse bomb. They've just got to be careful here not to get taken by surprise by the support ultimates from Five Nights Lands, and also not to get picked off here by this man Stalker on the left of screen.
Well, Stalker jumps in, but everyone from Anomaly collapses in towards each other. The cleanses come out, the TPs come out, and so K is going to be the target there in the back lines. Kurigari at least evens out the trade on the support. Rinku escapes on the tiniest bit of life, but not when you're going to get a fist to the face. Late beat coming out from Anomaly to be able to reinforce. Meets up against the Kitsune rush. Kitsune, arguably the better of the 2 of those, allows Five Nights to now have all the firepower that they need to chew through that extra bit of HP. They are going to tick it down to overtime. Don't bother to push the payload. It's just a celebratory noise, a bit of noise from Smiley comes out, and Five Nights takes map number 2.
Yeah, there's such a hard team to fight into, right? So much chaos, so much individual prowess, and they play compositions that lean into that. Every player on a hero that they can excel on, and I think for me the difference between the 2 teams here was Squishy. Just the fact that he was putting Kurigari under so much pressure. Kurigari could not challenge him at all, and you could see when Terran was playing, that was their target, right? So often we would be in Terran's POV, and he'd beeline onto Stalker, and as a Junker Queen it's so hard to get that kill because sorry, not Stalker, he would beeline onto Squishy. And as a Junker Queen it's so hard to get that kill because Squishy's just running away, but you know he's going to flip the script and head straight back into the team, and you have to turn around and waddle your way back. Whereas if you've got that Tracer with you, you can put that pressure on earlier, he doesn't get nearly as far away, and you can just turn quickly and try and get the kill or focus on a new target. So it's tough when the enemy flex support is able to duel out your DPS like that. It's really hard. We saw him even get that kill onto John Wick, and that had a knock-on effect in terms of ultimate charges and the relationship that had with the Genji ults as well. So it's really, really tough. The other thing was Mito on the Venture has so much more room for error than the Tracer does, right? He can go in, he can get out a lot more easily. Yes, Tracer has the recall, but with the reduced HP she has, it's very easy for Squishy to land one headshot and then any other damage will take her out. So the room for error is a lot lower, and that makes it a lot harder to execute. So it's tough. I think Five Nights will be happy with their performance so far. I think Rage Quit will feel like they're just that tiny bit of discipline that they're lacking, and lack of execution that's letting them down here.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely more discohesion in the Anomaly side, and some of it was out of their own panicking, but a lot of it was just the being forced out from their opponents. I mentioned it while we were casting their Stalker managing to isolate off the Junker Queen, and if you can punch her out of the fight, it takes her so long to get back towards the rest of the scrap. You've got, you talked about the difference between the Tracer and the Venture. Venture's cooldowns are cycling so quickly there, and I mean, you throw a Kitsune Rush on top of that and it just becomes ridiculous. Whereas Tracer, once you've recalled out, you have such a long downtime before you can really engage again, and your opponents have got such a mobile lineup that they can now start tracking you down, and once you're out of blinks and recall, there really isn't much you can do against a Doomfist that's going to chase you down. So, I mean, compositionally quite different there, and still great understanding. I did see some great moments. Lord of Terrans was a masterclass on Junker Queen and the accuracy and importance of Gracie. Some great beats coming out to keep teams alive for a long time, except for that one that you alluded to. But other than that, great tenacity from both sides. They were both winning fights. It just happened to be that early snowball that Five Nights got that was insurmountable by the end. It seems like 3 wins for in 3 team fight wins for Five Nights versus 2 from Rage Quit Anomaly, and that's the difference. On a push map, that's going to be something that just really costs you the whole map. There's still life though. Rage Quit desperately would love to go through to that LAN in first seeding. They've got to start the reverse sweep here. Their next pick is Suravasa, once more back onto the flashpoints, and I mean, not afraid to throw in that mobile team compositions, and here could be an interesting place where Dive might not have as much potency as something like the Junker Queen base brawl lineup.
Can they pick any map, or is there a map set? Because I know they can pick from any role, any map type, but it seems to me like this is another map that plays into Five Nights' wheelhouse more than Anomalies. But taking a look at the bans before we get into the match, it is Five Nights at LAN banning that ball, and then Anomaly taking out the Tracer. I quite like the Tracer ban. I think Jesse is a monster on that hero. They didn't run it in that last map, but it can be a scary hero to go up against. I quite also find it interesting that they think they can handle Stalker's Doomfist. They do not believe that they have to ban that hero out. They can just deal with it, and that is a indictment of their confidence, which is very promising to see. Five Nights are saying, let's not mess around here with anything. Let's keep things going as they were, because we think we can beat you as things stand. Let's not introduce any chaos into what's already going on.
Yeah, I mean, this really is, it seems like a counter ban right now, as to we're worried about these two just causing too much problems in our backline. I mean, we haven't seen too much Wrecking Ball coming out here from the side of Rage Quit Anomaly, but Lord of Terrans is certainly someone who could pull that out if they wanted to. It wasn't my go-to, but I mean, certainly could, in these sort of very short recontests when you've lost the point, certainly adds that ability to come in or stall it out. You know, if you take the point first and then your entire team dies, and except for the Wrecking Ball can still get up a significant amount, and being able to rotate from one point to the other as well, get up that early position and just knock everyone back. But going into the match,
what's happening with Lord of Terrans down there? He's looking skyward, praying to the heavens for a miracle here, it seems like. But I think, sorry, carry on with what you were about to say.
No, we go into this Five Nights on effectively match points and ready to take that top of the group seeding for the LAN. And they go through Jesse picking out the Soldier 76. Rinku got to be mirroring that on the other side. No, actually, they swap it around. Rinku going to be the one to claim up that Sombra. And Sombra, obviously, for the sole purpose of trying to deny out Stalker.
I like the Sombra pick a lot here. We did see him touch on that hero just a tiny bit at the end of Night Market on Lijiang Tower, I want to say. So a hero they're comfortable on. I've seen Rinku play it plenty, so I hope this is what they need to unlock this composition, because Five Nights have said it ain't broke, don't fix it, except for that man right there. And it wouldn't surprise me if he came out on the Shimada bro at the beginning of the next fight.
I mean, that was great spotting out from Rinku to start off the fight.
Yes.
Sees the soldier isolated and then calls it towards the team. And Jesse in the chat just goes, yo, I just not expecting that sort of collapse upon them. And Rinku now, unfortunately, late death into the fight. The Squishy once more proves that they can really jewel it out with the DPS. But it is going to be first point claimed by Anomaly.
Yeah, this is a great start for them. It's so important on Flashpoint to get this first point, to win the first team fight and get their out ball rolling on your side of the map. But Stalker already coming in, putting pressure on. He knows Terran's there. Going to try and get that kill. Dropping so low here. Not quite going down once yet, but you can see they're set up so well here. Anomaly looking for any targets and pouncing. When they see weakness this time is the Sombra.
Jesse certainly trading back and just proving that it seemed almost personal, those shots, as he goes invisible on the top. But Terran, though, the last one again with all the work to do and holding on to the point. It's going to be just enough to stall it. It's Five Nights to claim it. But it really just was executing one by one, and that seems to be the name of the game for Five Nights.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. Terran found himself fighting a Doomfist as the monkey. You don't really want to be doing that. You don't want to be in a duel with the Doomfist, but his teammates all collapsed around him, and that's kind of where he ended up. So maybe a little bit better target prioritization instead of in terms of choosing your targets. That might serve them well here, but when they dropped Rinku right at the start, it was kind of all downhill from there.
Oh, Stalker in a dangerous position. Doesn't manage to get out at the end of that, and that opens everything up here for Anomaly. There's going to be Rinku, who swapped off that Sombra now onto the Genji for a little bit of mobility to dive in, and that sort of trio with Kurogari not prepared to let anyone escape at this stage. Late fight to this fight. It does force out the Angry Monkey, but the Angry Monkey has secured his team that sort of possession of the point, and with only 15% up, it's going to be a hard press with Stalker, who can at least touch and has the ultimate to buy time.
Yeah, that ultimate from Stalker could be so critical here, because like you say, he can hard commit in here, but they're actually just going to give it up, it looks like. They've decided it's not worth going in there. I quite like that decision. Rather get set up on the next point with your ultimates and force them to try and be aggressive into you and punish them when they do. That's something that Anomaly's comp, or Five Nights' comp rather, is really, really good at. But unfortunately, because of where the points spawn, it's much better situated for Anomaly. So it's going to be them that get set up on the point here. They've got Sound Bear, they've got Duplicate, and they've got Kitsune Rush. So this should get them stand them in good stead. Yes.
Oh, the preemptive Kitsune Rush, and even the beats could be thrown in over the top. I think Anomaly dropping a little bit too much into this fight. They do have some left for the next one, but I mean, after that Kitsune and the jump in from Lord of Terran, it was almost decided straight away.
I think you're okay dropping the beat here. There's no obvious thing that the beat is countering, right? You don't have a Genji Blade, you don't have any huge ulti, so you rather just secure the team fight and secure this first cap. So far, this has been very, very good stuff from Anomaly on map number 3. And as we said, this is the first step towards a reverse sweep for them, potentially. They're going to take this map and the first seed out of Group B, so I'll be hoping they can carry on this momentum.
Deadeye comes out from the sky there, trying desperately. Was Rinku to throw the deflect into his face. Kurogari off the edge of the map as well, as Anomaly crumble under the onrush of Five Nights. Again, very quick, clean team fights for them to take control of the point.
Kurogari is going to be kicking himself because he was in Duplicate form. I don't know what hero he was. He might have actually been...
part of the Doomfist.
No, he might have been... I think I saw him as Mito, so he might have just rolled off the point, off the map by mistake. But that's unfortunate them, and that's a big ulti down the drain. They do come in with the blade, but Smiley, she's been very good about holding onto that ulti to counter out the blade. So Rinku's going to struggle to get value here.
There goes the blade, and immediately countered out by that down barrier. Now Rinku plays with their life without claiming any kills, and the rest of Five Nights still looking quite healthy here on the point. Up to Mito to try to stay alive. Does get zapped down. The damage also being done to their own back line. Smiley and Jesse diving through, taking care of all the supports here. And once more, Lord of Terran gets the boom of the map. Squishy without the teleport out. Lord of Terran still can't claim the point for themselves.
Yeah, he ulted there when his team were down quite a few. I think he was hoping to catch them on the side there and get rid of them or push them off the map, but unfortunately not finding anything. And now I think they just give this up. No, they go in. Rinku Haireru, he's going to get the touch, keep his team in it, and they're all here. So this could be a good team fight for them, depending on who drops first. Luka dropping early, that's huge for Anomaly.
That is massive right now as the rest of Anomaly does clean out these fights. They are so quick once they become decisive like this. Once a single pick. I mean, there's an attempt to try and get back inside there. Kuragari is somehow staying alive. Eventually, Anomaly are going to be able to take this out. And that was on 99%. Oh, the zap at the end there. Smiley still not credited with any sort of death to their opponents. But Anomaly still now on the verge of taking 2 of the 3 points that they need.
And they've got Sound Barrier, and they've got Kitsune. They've got Stalker. That should be it. 2 to the good here for Anomaly, I suspect. But is there a moment of brilliance here? No. Once again, the correct choice is the safe choice. And Five Nights are just going to back off here, regroup, and try and get that first position onto the next flashpoint. Where is it? Who's going to get there first? I am not even sure where the next point is at the moment.
Straight down the center, I believe it is. But again, Anomaly actually having the better positioning coming into this, and with the ultimates on hand, they've got everything that they need to work to. Jesse, you got a lot to do here with this duplicate, the best target there. Oh, even managed to pick up the kill at the beginning. And so far, Anomaly, they've had to force out their own sound barrier just to try and stay alive, but it's only onto the 3 remaining members of the squad, and High Noon now being thrown out there. That's not going to be able to get anything onto the monkey as Lord of Terrans pushes them into a corner, gets a second kill with the angry monkey form, and unfortunately it's just the same sort of story. Last one left alive and doesn't manage to secure enough.
Yeah, he did so much work there, but that Deadeye did so much damage. He charged that almost a full duration and got Terran Lord down so low. So unfortunately a big commitment from Anomaly, both the sound barrier and the Primal Rage. So a lot of ults to work with for Five Nights at Land. Stalker's got his ulti, he's getting out of jail free. Both supports as well, but they're going to stop quick here with the Kitsune Rush.
Double Kitsune Rush coming out there, and everyone throwing in damage. Trade out for both the squads. Lord of Terran falling so dangerously low. Does not manage to get saved by anyone on his team. And so the rest of Andromeda now just need to get cleaned up, die as soon as possible, because they still have time for one more. But like you say, Jesse has been phenomenal on every hero they played.
Yeah, he's been so good this series so far. Real standout performer as it stands at the moment. But coming into this potentially last team fight here for Anomaly on this point, they're going to have to try and get something done. If they can take down Smiley or mitigate the effect of that ultimate, Rinku closing in on the EMP, and that could be key here.
And you get the point gets actually taken out. Has to try to teleport out though. It has made the distraction available. Jesse manages to claim one the other way. That's a great duplicate onto the newly formed Reaper of the other squad. Kuragari has to race form out, but decides to try and give Terran Lord a bit of a hand. Turns around, takes out the counterpart of Nito. An Anomaly on 99%. How many more times can you do this? A little bit of still a breakthrough Death Blossom at the end of the duplicate. But Anomaly still in this. Lots of fights to go.
Yeah, really key was getting Jesse with that initial kill. I think it was Stalker actually with the laser beam from Kuragari, and they've got the EMP alt. Sorry, they've got the EMP as well now alt. God, you have the worst name altruism for casting Overwatch.
You were 100% right. They've got the EMP alt.
They do have the EMP alt, that is fair. But they're fighting for the duplicate now, dropping low. He's going to go for the Sombra, go for his own EMP. This could be a really heads-up play.
I mean, not going to have it in time to get rid of that sound barrier, and instead the first EMP comes out from Rinku. Confirms enough kills right now, and Anomaly immediately turn back their opponents and able to clean it up with just that one. I mean, the sound barrier as well. Unfortunately, not enough afterwards, but they've got 30% to defend.
They've got the Primal Rage, though. That means Lord of Terrans can play nice and aggro, pop that ulti, and get out of jail free potentially. The Death Blossom, though, could be the key ultimate to look out for here. Nito coming towards that. Stalker says, I'm going to try the monkey, see what I can get done. But it's not going to be easy here, I'd have to think, as here comes the Primal Rage.
Nice. And it separates off the exact right targets. It takes out both of the supports from the fight. So Anomaly just needs to stay alive and work methodically. Yeah, comes Nito. He's used his raid force, tries to desperately pop and force the Death Blossom, but it doesn't come off to their better. Suddenly, Anomaly looking on the verge of taking their first map. They have done it so far. Stalker, you've got to think that he doesn't have a lot. He's got his double Primal Rage, so at least they're alive. It's the very low HP target, so he's going for it, but his C9s Rage Quit Anomaly, they're not going to be taking out a sweep, and they deserve not to be. We are going to game number 4.
Oh yes, Altruism. I was so worried after those first 2 maps, but eventually Rage Quit find their style, but it's all about execution. That was the key here, about finding the targets you need and executing them aggressively. Terran Lord, you can see their strategy as a unit is have Terran Lord be as aggressive on the opponent's backline as they can, and let the rest of the team try and handle Stalker. I mentioned how they were not banning the Doomfist, and in my head I didn't say it out loud, but I was kind of questioning that. I like the confidence that decision shows, but you're always worried that the not the best player, but the most iconic hero player team combination on the opposing team, you take them out of their comfort zone and ban that. But they still have that ban in their pocket. They can still ban it going forward now if they want to. So imagine we get to a map 5, you take Stalker out of his comfort zone by banning that Doomfist, and all of a sudden you feel like it's your game to lose. So Rage Quit Anomaly finally executing correctly, and I think that's the big difference here. And I think part of that is showing respect to Squishy. To jump off what we were saying in the previous map. Don't challenge him as a solo DPS. Don't think you can outskill him because you probably can't. So let your big fat monkey man jump on there and put the pressure on and follow up on that, or at least force Squishy into his team or out of the fight. And that'll help you. Because Stalker's not getting it all his own way. And I wonder how much of that is the fact that Squishy is forced to handle his own business for a little bit in team fights, you know?
I mean, the fact that you can call on Squishy to do that is amazing as a squad. I mean, you're very lucky to have that. But something that I have noticed, Sun Phoenix, is this has to be one of the most diverse rosters of heroes that we've gotten to see in a match-up right now. I mean, we saw the Reaper coming in at the end. Sombra is such a random pick that we don't often get to see. You know, Soldier's being forced out. These teams seem to be just constantly mind gaming each other and trying to find an answer for the same questions that's opened up time and time again. And finally, Rage Quit seem to have asked a question that hasn't been answered just yet.
Yeah, it's awesome to see how these teams respond to each other. I will say though, Anomaly tends not to adapt in games. It's clear to me that they come into games with a plan, right? Their plan is, we've got a composition that is the best pick for this map, and we know how to make it work. Yes, we can get out-skilled or out-executed on occasion by our opponents, but we know that if we play up to the standard that we know we can play up to, we should win this map against whatever our opponents do. And that's a very interesting thing for me to see, because I often wonder, maybe you're better off being a little bit more responsive to what your opponents are doing. But they clearly know the core of their composition for a particular map is the best approach. And then you change little things. You bring that Sombra in to try and counter out a couple of things. And the other thing I liked was that the ult management was just that little bit better, and they always seem to have ults at the right time and use them effectively. They weren't throwing ults into 50-50 or 60-40 fights in their opponent's favors. They were a lot sharper with their execution, and that was the difference between the two teams.
And some great communication. I mean, that was very obvious there from Rage Quit. You said at the beginning that this is the team that you're expecting to have excellent synergy because of how much they play together. And I mean, that was epitomized on that very first movement here on Suravasa, was spot out Jesse on the Soldier on the side with the Sombra, who's invisible, and then get the Monkey to jump in afterwards, completely take that player out of the fight, who's a massive amount of damage. It was great target prioritization. Moving forward now, though, I'm still not decided. It is, of course, going to be 5 Knights still on that match point, but a bit of resurgence comes through. And this time, the first time that 5 Knights gets a map pick, actually in the entire tournament thus far, they get the pick and they choose the rarely seen Circuit Royale right now. And with that comes some very influential bans. 5 Knights going to be taking out the Zenyatta, and here comes that respect ban. We are worried about the verticality and the distance that Stalker's able to push in with this Doomfist, so let's get him out right now.
Now that's interesting to me, because this is one of the maps where I feel like Doomfist struggles a bit more than others, right? What are we expecting to see on this map? Probably poke, probably wrong. Exactly, that's what I'm getting at. Long range heroes behind a Sigma shield, rocks getting thrown all over the place, and not a ton of space to work with. You can't get around as easily like you can on, for example, the Flashpoint maps. So I feel like Anomaly, I feel like the Doomfist isn't nearly as good here, but I think what Anomaly are doing are saying, let's put Stalker out of his comfort zone and let's secure that map 5 berth if we can, because at that point anything can happen when we go back to control. I think the Zen ban is an interesting one. I don't think we've seen a single second of Zen so far, but we expect Poke to be very strong.
Yeah.
And so I think taking the Discord out, taking the volleys out makes a lot of sense. And on top of that, you enable, if who was it, Jesse, for example, wants to go something like the Genji, you take the Transcendence out of the mix as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse has a huge hero pool that I think he could bring through. Yeah, he flashed that soldier earlier, who's always very good on this map, and so I'm very interested to see where that goes. Anomaly, again, not afraid to throw a bit of a dive in there, but it is the very obvious standard Sigma compositions. Probably the best map for Sigma out of all of those in Overwatch 2, and both teams also going to be putting a lot onto their DPS, with Blaine being swapped in here. Five Nights is taking this seriously. They've actually taken Jesse out of the mix and said, you know what, we've got a Widow player. We know this guy is going to be our top pick here on a pick map. So Blaine gets a bit of game time, and Mito going to be taken him to the air. Needs to be careful about not being chewed down there. Lord of Terrans, though, very interesting. Swaps off of this. No, okay. I was going to say, come on.
Wee-woo. Yeah, Stalker on the Sigma is very cool. I'm interested to see how he does. As I said, we think of him as a Doomfist main or a more divey, aggressive player, but he can actually play everything. And one of the heroes before the Stalker Doomfist became a thing was actually the Reinhardt. So he knows how to hold firm and get aggressive when he needs to. This Widow duel is going to be absolutely key, though. We've seen Blaine be so excellent on the Widowmaker, on Lijiang Tower, especially in one of the previous series. But Kurg isn't slouch, and he's going to get the opening volley this time.
So difficult to win that duel when you're going around the corner like that. There's so many angles to watch, but utilizes the Sigma Shield to full effectiveness. And there manages to get that first pick. Now Rinku, though, has got around the corner and trying to put in any damage to stop anything. So far, Anomaly yet to break through. That's a great rock, but no follow-up afterwards. Kuragari finally manages to get a second pick here. Takes out the other DPS. There is going to be a Widowmaker coming back in, so needs to be aware of that. But has the smallest amount of freedom. No! Preempts the grapple shot and takes him out mid-air, and that opens up everything that Anomaly needed.
Oh my god, Altruism. Sit down, son. Go back to base, please. I'm not dealing with you right now. That was something special. He took out Mito as well on the Pharos. Kuragari stepping up in a big way in this team fight and pretty much single-handedly securing this first point cap potentially. But they still got around the second corner, so there is time for Five Nights to get through here. Stalker's almost at his ultimate. Kuragari pretty much at his. Can you shoot through there? That's a bit gross if you can, but unfortunately Blaine not finding the target there. But this man right here, he could be so key just to secure them this first point. Although, yeah, Stalker is down there setting up.
Tries to shoot back through the smallest little gap, but unfortunately gives away the position. Blaine going to come the better in the Widow duel right now, and with Five Nights and Stalker sitting there on the payload, they have to worry about coming too far around the corner. The amplification matrix is there. You're actually going to poke out with this? No, decides to go back into cover afterwards. Gets value out of that gravitic flux, and it is Anomaly now the one sent back to spawn.
Again, the key is killing that Widowmaker, right? Whoever wins that Widow duel seems to win the fight, and Kuragari getting the better of Blaine, or Blaine rather getting the better of Kuragari on that occasion. And Squishy, he's been getting the better of this trade in terms of Sigmas as well, being able to charge his ulti up just that little bit faster, and that made all the difference in the world. So a ton of ults for Anomaly to work with here. Captive Sun could be critical, but she needs to be careful not to let the Sigma get it eat it up as well. So lots to play with here in this team fight.
Sights out now for Kuragari to play with, but it's Blaine the one who's finding the value on the Widowmaker for now. Again, more ultimates being thrown and a return sight against the better Kuragari, not going to be able to stay in this fight any longer. Mito, the one who is credited with that, Anomaly claimed and pushed down once more.
Oh. Yeah, that was a rough fight. Just better ultimate usage. We saw the Captive Sun secure a couple of kills in consort with the rockets from Mito, so synergizing nicely there to secure a couple of kills, and that was pretty much team fighting. A big mistake or point of failure as well was the fact that Terran hit nothing with the gravitic flux as well, so that was a big ulti that got no value. We'll have to see if they can win this in a more neutral environment, but Terran dropping so low under so much pressure. They've already spent so much for this ultimate.
The big over the top comes now, and the actual barrage thrown into the backline doesn't manage to get anyone though, as KK instead decides to go for it, at least gets the pylon out before being taken, and Kuragari manages to get double kill on the Widowmaker. Too much free space here as Blaine was taken down too early into that fight. It is at least going to be Anomaly managing to get security of that first point.
Oh my god, Kuragari, what a monster on the Widowmaker. Finding pick after pick, 2 picks in that team fight that took a losing fight and turned it into a winning fight. So this Widow duel is so key, and once again, Kuragari finds that opening kill to buy his team just a little bit of extra push here.
You know what? A sudden realization, and all the admins, these guys who want to watch this afterwards, can we get a Trizzle versus Sterling versus Kuragari Sniper Widow duel at the LAN? Please, can we set that up? Because this is disgusting to watch. Even starts setting the sights on Blaine. Does get taken out, unfortunately traded. But Anomaly with the better in terms of numbers in this fight. Gravitic Plus try to turn this around. You picked up Lord of Terrans straight into the Immortality field. Big props has to go to John Wack. Obviously a hero feels much more comfortable on. The Blaine continues just going. In fact, it's going to be that around. Lord of Terrans returns the favor of the Gravitic Flux. Keeps this team alive. Still with a chance. Over the top!
Oh no, dude, what? He just comes in and gets a kill like he's drag, select, delete, and making short work of these team fights, as that allows Anomaly to push forward here. A good Gravitic Flux, it has to be said, from Lord of Terrans to get that down. Trying to find targets here. Ball is not banned in this. Hello, let's kill it. No, Stalker comes back in on the ball, gets that kill onto Terran, and once again, with just centimeters to go, Altruism, Anomaly gonna be held back.
This is actually going to be tough. I think this might even be enough, even if they stop it right here and now. But, I mean, they would love to at least get point number 2. Third point obviously being the hardest one to push forwards. Now Five Nights in the best position they could possibly ask for. They're at the top of the slope. They've got their ability to give Blaine some space. Mito also going to have some freedom to work around this high ground, and Anomaly has work to do to try get into the spot. Rinku is going to be someone who they're relying on heavily. But Thrifty going to start it off with that massive... Oh, that Captive Sun has proven to be a critical ultimate for so many teams, and it puts paid to Anomaly's attempts straight away. Dying quickly enough, they're going to now have to worry about just touching the point, and this could call for a swap from Lord of Terran.
Yeah, we'd have to see here. It'll be a desperate attack here if they do manage to go through. No ults really to work with, and yeah, there's the ball, as you suggested. The duplicate could be really nice here. Not really the best targets. Yes, ball's good, but not every DPS player knows how to get good value on ball. Something that we don't often bring up when we think about that hero. But there we go. He got in quickly, though. He can really be served.
I mean, a big chance here. Rinku actually decides to duplicate. We're going to have 2 widows here on the side of Anomaly. 2 widows is enough. It seems like one was already doing so much. They managed to break through, and even though, like you said, it was that desperate attempt, last movement here from Stalker on the lowest amount of HP. Mito back into the fight as well, though, is proving to be too much damage to deal with. An Anomaly, well, we're 4 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters away. It's almost half a meter away, and they stall out the point. It is enough to take down the overtime. Anomaly denied before second point, and Five Nights, they managed to pull out a miracle in the last half a meter.
I mean, that was all Stalker. He was in the back line. He's making sure Kuragari can't pop off like we've seen Kuragari do in the rest of the map. And then he comes back in with the minefield over the top. He finds 1 kill. He sets the second one up for Mito to get the rocket down. And he pressures Kuragari out to keep Mito alive. That was really, really excellent play on the ball by Stalker. On the ball in many different ways, it has to be said. So they have done enough here, Anomaly, to feel like they've got an opportunity to take us through to a map 5 here. It's not going to be easy. It's 3 or 4 team fight wins, and Five Nights have been very good when it comes to parlaying one win into another. Yeah. So they're going to have to be careful, Anomaly. They have to be sharp. They're going to have to be disciplined. And it seems like they're going to be a little bit different here as well. They're not going to mess around with the poke. Instead, they're going to try and build some pressure by diving into the core of the Five Nights squad.
Yeah, I mean, no more Widow Jewel anymore. Sad to see that as Kuragari instead.
Mhm.
And look at the sneakiness that's being shown
Okay.
here from Anomaly. They're going to hold really nice and tight in the front line, allow themselves to wrap around the back of anyone who wants to be out there alone without the ability to really peel for each other. And so Five Nights, and with Anomaly, of course, this gives them more than one fight here on point number one. So we'll see how many times they can make this work.
Oh, they
Immediately
don't
jump. There is no sneakiness needed or required. Rinku wins out the aerial battle. Going to be a Pharaoh vs. Pharaoh duel instead. Immortality Field forced out on the left-hand side. And Smiley, though, says, you know what, sit down. I've also got a gun. So, I mean, right now, Kuragari wants to change sides, try and really push up against the front door. I mean, so Phoenix, when do we ever see a full spawn door hold on Circuit Royale?
This feels wrong, right? This feels like this isn't the right way to do this. Like there's a logic to their madness here, you'd have to think, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't approach it this way. They've bought enough time here. The card has moved exactly 0 meters until now. So they bought themselves just under 45 seconds there by doing that. They have shown their composition. I wonder if they just switch things up now, if they go out. No, they're going to stick with the dive and just try and keep that pressure up, keep taking fights aggressively, and try and prevent them from taking fights using quantity over quality of team fights.
You know what? Let's do this, because this is not something you pull off on a big stage randomly without practicing. This is obviously a train and practice style, and certainly Anomaly is making it work, making it look good for now. Certainly not rushing into it chaotically. They've once more stalled out the payload. Kuragari's got some space in the backline. He's got a Winston jumping in over the top, and people falling low on Five Nights. Unfortunately, Anomaly also suffering their share of damage, and Lord of Terror is forced to retreat. Again, stalls out the payload. A great way to just abuse this corner and send some damage in over the top. Now he's with the aerial rockets. That is disgusting as Anomaly stabilize in this fight and actually take a fight even deeper.
I mean, what are we watching here? This is pure inting here, but not right, because it's working so well. And as you say, it's a plan. Even delaying the kill on Stalker there. He could have secured that a good 2-3 seconds ago, but that extra time means it's Stalker, because Stalker was never going to kill anybody or win that team fight, right? So you just wait a few extra seconds off the clock, and now they can look to fight again. They've got the pulse bomb at the ready. We saw how Kuragari was able to get into a good position to get the backline under pressure. If you'd had pulse bomb there, you would have been able to take down 2. So if you can get down in a similar position now, you'll be able to do a lot of damage. Kuragari almost, almost towards his ulti. Sound barrier. He's really got a big pulse bomb, but blocked out by the lamp.
Oh, Smiley has been on point with these immortality fields, and now this gives Five Nights all the room to push forward that they need. It's been an overextension here from Anomaly, maybe just thinking they had the advantage after that pulse bomb connected, dismantled as a squad, so not even the guy on point to stall it out. Desperate attempt from Kuragari at the end, but Anomaly, they had to eventually break in the terms of their dive, and given a lot of ults over here to Five Nights at land. But you know what? I'm going to back it. I think the dive did its job.
I think they've still got another fight here as well, Altruism. And if they win this, they win the round. So this could be a genius and or we're going to times 2. He'll pay with his life, but he'll pay that price any day of the week for 2 fights as Lord of Terrans gets aggressive here. It's Stalker and Mito left. If they can just secure these kills, that'll be another 40 seconds off the clock here into last fight territory. So once again, Rage Crit, aggressive movement, aggressive play, no time to think. The script has truly been flipped here, Altruism.
It hasn't been flipped. It's been rewritten. It's been torn apart. This is a Season 8 Game of Thrones finale right now when no one knows what's going to happen. I'm going to take some flack with that later, but some space given by Anomalies is going to be Lord of Terrans cutting off in the middle there. There is going to be a barrage over the top, but there's no one there to find with that. So a little bit wasted, as we see now the eventual hopeful Sun, and that picks up 1, picks up 2. And that's what Five Nights needed. It has been probably the most influential single ultimate, but it's not done yet. Lord of Terrans, he's got the Monkey Rage. Man, I can't even think about what that thing's called right now. Woo! That was a close fight for the last time, and Five Nights has got a long way still to go.
I think Mito looked a bit wacky there, but it was the bubble from the Winston that he was trying to avoid killing himself on, which is why he was kind of sprinkling off into the distance. But Wow, what a messy fight. A really solid play from both teams. Really solid play again from Squishy on the Illari. That Captive Sun was what got them over the line there, it has to be said, because there was an Angry Monkey in the backline doing so much damage and getting work done alongside the Tracer of Burigari. So good work from them, but now they've got 2 minutes to try and stall out here. The cart is already around that corner, the first corner. Now they get aggressive and try and secure some kills.
Oh, unfortunately, the TP in from KK puts them into a dangerous situation, and it's not the fight you want to try charge forward onto. Lord of Terrans was there and got out the Immortality field. They needed someone like Kurugari in afterwards. Unfortunately, the kill to the jump was a little preemptive. Five Nights clean up with it pretty succinctly. And they're going to now only really have one more fight. A minute and a half, it's not a long time. It's given Five Nights also the opportunity. Blaine going to be setting up in a sneaky position here with this Deadeye, it's got to be thought.
Now they've got no ultis here. They're buying time here for the cart to get closer and closer to the point. Did they find any kills? Oh, they're going to Altruism. Oh. 2 kills. That must be game over.
Man, that is the difference that comes out thanks to the increased speed that you get at the end of your Deadeye. But normally they tried so hard. They brought out something that no one expected, and it worked for so long. But eventually, that extra half a meter that they weren't able to claim on point number 2, and the eventual just mistiming on a couple of those jumps eventually gives Five Nights the difference. Big ultimates, once more Squishy, showing their proficiency from the back line, keeping everyone else up and healthy there, and then charging forward with the Captain to secure it's our play of the game. And arguably, one of the players of the match, we'll talk about that in a second, but a big part goes that it is going to be Five Nights at LAN and taking the undefeated victory throughout this, and well deserved from them.
Yeah, they were made to work for it, though. Credit where it's due, as you say. Normally, they looked like they were struggling in the first 2 maps, but they switched on for Suravasa. Yeah. They found what worked for them, and it was all about execution. It wasn't compositional. They didn't have to change their plans or their approach. They just had to clean up a few of their team fight execution moments, and they did just that, managed to push their way on through Suravasa and look good doing it. And then they totally flipped it up. They said, all right, we have a plan here that nobody's expecting on this map, and we're going to come up with hyper aggression. We're going to spawn camp them on their first push on Circuit Royale and just keep playing for time. Die on point. Make sure they're getting no extra push when compared to what they might normally get if you try and escape a team fight. Just go all in, and it worked for them so well. But just in that last fight, that Deadeye was so perfect, because even if he gets no kills, the amount of extra frantic energy that Anomaly would have had to put through just to get the touch on point, not even to try and initiate a team fight, would have put them in such a tough spot. They were set up all around that doorway, Five Nights, waiting for Anomaly to come through so they could punish them. So really excellent management of that final team fight got them over the line. But it is going to be Five Nights here, topping Group B, but doesn't it just fill you with excitement for what's going to happen in the LAN finals come October?
Oh man, it's so exciting. Guys, we promised you what top level Overwatch in the country looks like, and I mean, more than the overarching meta game and the actual wins of it, the individual moments there had me so excited. The Widow Jewel that went back and forth, the combination of shots, time and time again. Aerial rocket, Farah to Farah was a brilliant sight to see. I mean, these are players who have obviously got such a passion and drive for the game. There's a reason why half of this lobby is involved in the Cowser administration in whatever various capabilities, is because they live this game. They know this game. They want to make sure that Overwatch in South Africa looks good because they have such a vision for it. And so it excites me. It excites me so much, Sun Phoenix, to see this. And I mean, it's now a difficult job for us to try and pick which was the best moment or player out of this, because we have to still select an MVP.
It is difficult. There's a lot of stand-up players on both teams. I think Kurugari obviously really stood up in that last map, right? He said, "Hey, look at me. I'm an absolute monster on the Widowmaker, just to remind you." And he dominated Blaine, it has to be said. And we know how good Blaine is.
Yeah.
That says good things about Kuragara and his ability on the hit scan DPS. We saw Jesse absolutely dominate on a few maps. His Genji looked stellar on Runasapi, his Tracer on Lijiang Tower before getting subbed out for Blaine on Circuit Royale, which proved, it has to be said, to be the correct decision from Five Nights. But at the end of the day, we mentioned him a couple of times. He got that final play of the game. For me, there's no question that it's going to be Squishy. He was the difference between these two teams on all the maps that Five Nights won. His ability to punish opposing DPS, to take care of himself, and then to output all the healing and utility that he needs to, was really what leveled the Five Nights up and took them to the victory in this map. So for me, 100% Squishy was a stand-up player.
Yeah. I think both tanks deserve an honorable mention. Jesse, like you said, was constantly lighting it up, but Squishy enabled the offensive front line, because when you're not worried about your backline, Stalker just has all the freedom in the world. And like you said, when the opponents are running something like a Tracer that just gets no value because they're getting dinked in the head once too often, it means that everything falls apart for Rage Quit. And it almost feels like a single kunai determined a lot of those fights, considering how close it was. And so I'm with you. Squishy was just a fantastic player. Smiley, just also 1 second there, has to get also an honorable mention because of simply the immortality fields. There were at least 4 or 5 deaths there prevented at the last moment, whether it was out of a gravitic flux or a pulse bomb or something like that. So such a high level from every one of the players to come out here. Mito's friend, by the way, we did see that in the camera. You get honorable mention just for the triple hats. That's the first multiple hats that we've seen. That was Sterling, actually, in the background. Apparently.
Oh, was that Sterling? Okay.
Apparently.
I recognize him. I've only seen him from like that side profile angle that he has on his cam.
But there we go. Squishy gets the MVP for us here, but I'm sure you guys enjoyed that entirety of that series as much as we did. I was so excited to see it go to a game number 5, but maybe that just teases something in the future here at LAN for us. Such a good state of Overwatch in the country. And final thoughts. I know, Sun Phoenix, you're going to be back with one more game after this.
Yeah, that was, I think, as you say, that was if the previous match we just had, Ultrazone, was a teaser for this match, and this match absolutely delivered, and yet this one is still a teaser for what's coming in the future. So it's just getting better and better from here on, guys. We still have a match coming after this, as you say, and then we've got another set of qualifiers which promises to have banging maps pretty much from the beginning, with all these top level teams get taken out of the pool. It leaves us with a lot of very closely matched teams. So that promises to be a lot of fun. But ultimately, Overwatch South Africa is in a really good space, and this is what the top level looks like.
It really does. All right, guys, so that's going to bring us to an end for this cast. In about an hour at 7:30, we do have Vanquish versus Era 404. That match still to go. Era 404 looking for their first victory in this tournament. Again, one of those newer sides, but Vanquish has been showing off great skills and great potential. So I think it's going to be a hard match for them, and a big shout outs. And Mito, absolute pleasure meeting you. I see you in the chat there. Don't worry. It was a pleasure meeting you. I didn't even realize it was Mito at that stage when I met him, but really great guy there, and a team that's strong behind them as well. So guys, we're going to take a break. Sun Phoenix is going to be back later at 7:30 to bring you the final match of qualifier number 1. And if you guys aren't able to stick around for this, do not forget, 7th of September, qualifier number 2, double elimination bracket to secure our final 2 teams for that 80K LAN. Otherwise, for us here and myself for this weekend, it has been so good to see Overwatch in such a great place again here in South Africa. It makes me excited, and I'll see you guys next time.
While they say you can't have too much of a good thing, but unfortunately all good things must come to an end. As we reach the end of the Ethereal Ducklings. Wow. Hi
your
to
head.
who's guys infiltrated my brain already. The Ethereal Crown. Well, that's the problem. You named yourself after the tournament. How's a caster supposed to manage? The Ethereal Crown Qualifier 1. It's been an awesome 2 weekends of Overwatch action. Very one-sided at times, but the last 2 games, I think, made it all worthwhile. So much awesome Overwatch to be seen throughout the weekend. So much fun to be had for the players, for us, the casters, and for everyone involved. So we thank you guys for joining us throughout these 2 weekends. But we're not done quite yet. We've got one last game to bring you guys. Nothing on the line here. Both of these teams are not qualifying, unfortunately. But it is going to be Vanquish taking on the Era 404 Skill Not Found. As you can see, and I've already heard, I'm joined by Lixodian. Lixodian, how's it going?
Hello, hello. I am jamming as usual. Yeah, just so happy to be here. What a great 2 weekends of Overwatch we've had. Lots of good games. Yeah,
absolutely. Lots of good games. Now, you, of course, a member of Ethereal Ducklings, if people hadn't gathered that from my flubbed intro. How did your guys' qualifiers go, and did you have a good time?
I think we had a good time. I mean, personally, myself, I came into this team not too long ago after Ringmaster's Rumble. And yeah, having taken a map off IB was pretty good.
Yes, look at that. One of the only teams to take a map off one of the top 4 teams.
And then the other one was the Crimson game, which we took 2 maps off of them. Nice. And the rest were 3-0s.
Yeah, been a lot of 3-0s. Fingers crossed we won't get one here. But as we take a look at our teams, we can start with a team we know less about, Era 404 Skill Not Found. We just learned, Lix and I off camera, that these guys are not only new to the Overwatch scene, but new to Overwatch in general. So a trial by fire in many different ways. It is going to be Bobayan, 7 frames per second on the DPS alongside Mr. Apple. We've got that one guy on tank. Zombok, she'll be bringing in the support alongside King Kelly. So not too many familiar names and faces here, Lix.
Yeah, no. Lots of new people. We love having newbies come join us, come play the games, Sometimes it's tough, but we like the spirit. We like the vibes. On the other side of things, we have Panda City Vanquish, which is a team we've gotten to know a little bit better. Coming into this, we didn't know anything about them, and then suddenly they just burst onto the scene. We have Fable and Loki on DPS, Salmon on tank, Pokemoli now in for Limes on support, and then Cersei bringing up the rear with the Kiriko. Yeah, this team, kind of scary. If you give Fable enough space, Fable can take over a lobby.
You were saying to me that you really feel like the DPS players kind of stand out on the squad.
They shine for me. I kind of see them pushing a lot, getting these high value picks. You give them a little bit of space and they become really, really dangerous.
Yeah, I had a rough time in the last map. I think you often talk about 3-0s as being very 3-0 3-0s, and that was not a very 3-0 3-0. There was a lot of back and forth in those maps. Some matches we talk about your success based on how many kills you get or how many team fights you win. That was definitely one where Vanquish will feel maybe a little bit disappointed at not having taken a map off Pangolins, because they looked poised to do that at many different stages. Right, we do have our first map here. It is, for the first time in the history of South African Overwatch, it feels like, or at least in the history of the Ethereal Crown Qualifier 1, it is not Lijiang Tower. Instead, we'll go over to Nepal for our first control map. What are your thoughts on Nepal, Lix?
Nepal, very dive, very brawl. Looking to see a lot of Winston, looking to see a lot of Lucio, lots of Ramatra even. Yeah. And it definitely is not the first one in history, because IB brought this one against us.
I'm sure it has happened before, but I know for all the games I've cast this weekend, it's been Lijiang Tower first every time.
Very true.
There is some variation outside of those games, which is good to see.
we have our bans in. So we have the Sombra and the Roadhog ban. Sombra kind of makes sense. Very annoying character, very disruptive if played well. The Roadhog, though, in Nepal, maybe for the Sanctum hooks, I think. Just if I wanted to bring out like a cheese play. But yeah, I don't really know what else to make of that.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what Vanquish is running a lot of, and they weren't really running any Doomfist or any Ball, at least as far as I can remember. So there's no like hard counter there, and of course it is Era 404. So okay, this pick actually makes sense to me. When you're new to the game, Roadhog can feel quite oppressive, right? That hook can kind of ruin your day. It can feel like it comes out of nowhere and like it goes on forever. So taking that hero out of the game probably will make Era 404 like they've got more freedom of movement. From Vanquish's perspective, as you say, the Sombra ban is always a very solid ban if you're not necessarily that sure what you're going to be playing against. If you can choose not to play against that hero, just get it out of there and know you'll have a mostly normal game.
Yeah, I mean, Sombra, Farah, those characters, maybe even the Moira, are good just overall ban picks. If you're not sure what you're playing into.
Right.
Yeah,
now
we are getting a little bit of rush.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just think that we're seeing a little bit of rush here. Just no Lucio on the side of Vanquish. Yeah, not really sure how they're going to get that Ram in there.
Yeah, I guess they just want to, get the Nikes in and just run across the battlefield and get his punch on. They don't have much poke. Of course, you can set up in front of the Junkrat, and I guess they just want to get on point and put pressure on. But they're playing into a Bastion Sigma here, so this could be rough if they're not careful. Positioning going to be key here for our blue team. Team Vanquish, you can see on the point there is the main man. Oh, it's his world rock there. Needs to be careful now and just peek away from the Bastion here. It's going to be looking for a flank, but we're kind of just happy to poke things out. I think this is good play from Era 404, just to hold, just to play into their own strength, which is to set up behind the shield and stay alive. Oh, as I say that though, Salmon finds an opening there. Both supports now down. Era 404 in big trouble here. Good shooting is going to take Salmon down low. I'm not going to get the kill just yet. Sigma on Ram. Violence, you hate to see it, but at the end of the day, Vanquish holds steady on the first point.
Yeah, this Era 404 team is coming out with I want to say a poke. And they're just not kind of doing the thing that the poke is supposed to do. They're not keeping their distance away from this Ram, getting their shots in, and securing that kill before they take the space that they made. Yeah, it
kind of feels like Vanquish are doing a better job at the poke game right now. And it's rough to push in here. They've gone onto the Mauga now. Oh, Bastion super low. They need to be careful, but Mauga says, I'm going to go get it, but it's Mauga. Trading with Mauga. There's the blue Mauga goes in blue in more ways than one. And he's made the red team blue in a sense of being a little bit depressed with how this has started so far. Era 404 outclassed at the moment. Still trying to find their feet in terms of what composition they want to come out with.
It might be that they're just not that well versed, I mean, they are new players, not too sure really how to string things together. Vanquish, a team that's definitely scrimmed before you can see this.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're kind of bringing the strats together.
I mean, how do you like this? The Petal platform going to put the Junkrat up high. Already two players have gone down, two more, or one more rather, thanks to that Riptire. And that's going to be it there. All five down. The team kill horn comes out. And 84% on the clock. Vanquish sitting pretty here on the first point of Nepal.
Yeah, I don't see how Era 404 breaks onto this point. I mean, Vanquish has a Kitsune Rush here and a Tree of Life. I just think, yeah, this is very one-sided, this first map.
Yeah, there we go. That one guy taken down before they even get anywhere near point. So a tough start for Era 404 as they find their feet in Overwatch. But Vanquish, something that's impressed me about Vanquish is just how disciplined they seem to be. They always know exactly what their comp needs to be doing, and they always execute it very well, unless they're faced up against a team who's just that little bit sharper. So, credit where it's due. Vanquish has been a team that has kind of burst onto the scene a little bit here, taking the fight to some more established names.
Yeah. They also bring a little bit of interesting flavor to the teams. I mean, this team comp right here, I don't even know what to call this.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it has a purpose. it has a purpose, and it's walk forward and kill.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, right? Walk forward and kill. Ramatra and the Reaper don't want to kind of stick near each other, and that becomes a terrifying prospect up close if they manage to get in. So we'll have to wait and see. Apple here on the Tracy is going to put pressure on from that high ground, but the rest of the squad of Era 404 are just going to move onto the point now and try to get set up. Salmon dropping down to half HP, needs to be careful, but he's got a Light Weaver in tow, so he'll be perfectly fine for a while here. Oh, King Kelly getting isolated there, not able to TB back to the squad. Loki will secure that kill, and that means that one guy here is down one healer, and on top of that, Izalari's been forced around the corner there, can't see him, but Bobian, he finds a kill onto Fable. They trade out. In fact, as we see the pylon on point there, it's taken down by Salmon. He's got lots of space to work with now. Everybody does. King Kali back in the mix, but taken to the grave once more, as last man standing here is the Tracer. Good tracking from Loki. Keep on top of that. Pesky hero. That's going to be another point control for Vanquish.
Yeah, I mean, this Vanquish team, they just absolutely know what they're doing in terms of how their heroes function in these interactions. I mean, they're not taking too much away from each other, and yeah, this... But that being said, Salmon down, big opening.
That's a huge kill. Can they convert that into something else here? They're already on point, already capping point. Will they get the cap? Yes, they do. So it's in their control, and there we go. Another couple of kills. That one guy takes down Cersei. I think he was taken down in the meantime, but they are set up on point. They can afford to draw this out for as long as possible, but the duplicate is going to make it hard for them to find any value here on the red side. Nice ulti there just to get rid of that. It's a free ult, of course, Echo in duplicate. So happy to throw that out just for that one kill. Fable, great play from him. You called how good the DPS are, and Fable showing that off right here. That's his fifth kill, whatever it is. And allow him to switch the point back, but 37% up for Era 404.
Yeah, these fights are really scrappy. I mean, they keep trickling in. Good stall at the end there. But the Ram ult being popped here into the cast Deadeye.
Oh man, you kind of just let him die to the Radiance damage there from the Annihilation, blocking out any damage coming out of the Deadeye. Nice turn on Apple once again. So very aggressive play here, using the ultimates and knowing their boundaries. Lix, I think, stands out about Vanquished.
No, they definitely aren't pushing too far. They flex just as much as they need to, and then, yeah. I mean, the Reaper in the back, spawn camping the Junker Queen is a little diabolical.
That's unfortunate there for that one guy. A little bit slow to respond. His healers, I think, were still coming out of spawn, so he perhaps should have been positioned a little bit further back. Oh my!
Massive stick.
Great stick, but oh my god, the pull! The life grip keeps the Echo alive. That was such nice play for Apple, but unfortunately, Pokemoli says, no sir, we've got this all under control.
That's actually an interaction I didn't even know could happen. I didn't know that Life Weaver pull cancels stick.
It's like an invulnerability, pretty much. Oh my god.
We were just told he was Susan.
That is a lot of damage coming out of the Death Blossom. They run back towards point. There's somebody there, I think. They're looking to see who got here, but nobody did. 100% ticks up. And Panda City Vanquish take map number 1. A dominant performance, as I think we expected, Lix.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going up against people who have just started playing the game, I mean, it's almost to be expected. But we still really we take pride in their in their, I want to say, bravery. Because you're standing up against this Titan, these people who've played the game, they know what's going on, and you're here like, what am I doing? But let's do it anyway and have fun doing it.
Yeah, and then as we were hearing earlier off cam again, what was I saying? Sorry. Oh, we know they're new to the game, but we also know they are having a good time. Of course, losing is never fun, but they said they're happy to be here and get some experience, and they're enjoying the time, and they've been really impressed with the skills on display from their opponents. And you know, it's been a rough group stage for them. They're 0-9, so 0-10 now. Haven't yet taken a map, but it's all learning experiences. It's all about getting involved, and they've had a good time doing that, as I understand it. And if nothing else, Lix, they've been shown on stream a couple of times, so they'll get to watch these moments back one day when they're pro Overwatch players.
Yeah, they'll be able to look back and, you know, they can triumph in how far they've come.
Exactly.
We have map stats here. So, yeah, Vanquish doing so much more damage, blocking so much more damage, almost double on both those stats, and then the healing kind of even.
Yeah, I think this tracks with what we were seeing, doesn't it? Vanquish just in complete control, not much to play with there from Era 404. Damage blocked even higher. Of course, they did spend a bunch of time running the Mauga Era 404, so that is part of why the damage blocked is a lot less than what Vanquish is putting out. But yeah, no, Vanquish in firm control, nearly twice as much damage. I think that tracks exactly with what we were seeing. As we head into map number 2, another change up, no King's Row, no Route 66. We now go over to Hollywood. So, fun, another old school Overwatch 1 map. I think Vanquish should feel at home here. With Aero 404, I think this is where they can try and make something happen.
Yeah, a lot of dive happening here, a lot of poke that can happen here. So I'm looking to see a lot of angles, some Sigma being played, maybe some Winston being played. And we have a Bastion and a Zen ban. So yeah, those are definitely not the big tank bans that I thought that would happen.
Yeah. I think it's this Bastion ban is just a response to what what seems like a comfort pick for Era 404, right? They came out on that Bastion pretty confident, sitting up behind the Sigma. That's clearly a plan they feel comfortable with and that they have. So from Vanquish's perspective, you know what, win harder, right? Just make them even more uncomfortable and dominate as best we can. The Zen pick, well, what do you think the rationale is behind the Zen pick?
I just think maybe that they fear Zen. Zen is a scary DPS on with a little bit of healing capability.
Yeah.
So Zen can really just if you let a Zen with good aim get some space, then yeah, they will just delete your team.
Yeah, no, it definitely can be. It's worth noting again, guys. Air 404 would have banned first, and then Panda City can respond with their own ban. So interesting to see how this plays out here. I think Bastion on Hollywood is can be pretty strong on the defense here, but we'll have to see what Air 404 can get done on their attack, which is often the hardest part for new teams, is to find a way through and clean up fights, especially even if you get that opening pick. That actual cleanup can be the hardest part of taking down an entrenched defensive position. So we've got Soldier, Pharah, Reinhardt. I kind of like the Reinhardt, but I obviously wish it was being run with the Lucios. I'm sure you can agree with Lix. But I like the Ilaria as well. It's an opportunity to do damage. On the defense, though, this is what we expect to see from them. Stand behind the Ramatra, allow him to get aggressive. And the Lifeweaver, again, just an insurance policy that outputs a lot of healing.
I just think if Era 404 maybe consider the like a Winston here, they get through that choke a lot easier, because it is into a Ramatra, and they have a Widow, and a Winston would just would do so much on both of those characters.
There you go, already.
Oh,
Salmon, yeah, Salmon will pick that off, but that was a headshot that Fable got there onto Bobayana, got him down. Oh, this is a rough one. Can they secure the kill? Oh my god, there's no keys on, juking it out, he gets saved. Both supports using their defensive spells though, so if they can get in within the next few seconds, they might be able to find some value, but it's not looking like they can at the moment. Ryan is kind of trying to waddle his way forward here and put the pressure on, but he's kind of playing into his own counter here a little bit. The Ramatra, a pretty solid counter to the Reinhardt. They've gone through the Yoon in position now. Oh, Salmon though, he's not afraid of anything. He gets in there, takes down the Pharah, and will now push forward. We'll get rid of the pylon as well. Good heads up play from him. And they're just looking to stay aggressive here with this. Oh, and Fable from the back takes down one, takes down the second.
Oh no,
she's just a tiny bit too tall, is Hilary, and Fable says thanks. I have one on another flick shot onto the Pharah. Can we get one more for the main man on the Widowmaker? It's looking good. Yes, we can. That's everybody dying to this Widowmaker. We get another kill here, but we have a headshot. Fable putting on a clinic. Clip it here for our next, Kausa intro video, because he's putting on a clinic here once again, and it's not stopping, Lix.
Yeah, Fable is just he's having a shooting range right now. It's free money. Nobody's putting any pressure on him. There's no real space being taken away from him, so he just gets to shoot, and everything dies when Fable shoots.
That is definitely what seems to be happening at the moment, and now Salmon says, well, I've got some place to work with. Everybody's dead. Get rid of the pylon, and now I can pop Nemesis form right now. Is he gonna do it? Nope. He says I'm gonna put some hours in, aiming with my little staff here, and then he's gonna use the Nemesis form to reposition. Good play from him, and once again knowing their boundaries quite effectively here, Vanquish.
Pretty much touching the spawn door there, but not overstaying their welcome.
Yeah.
You know. Because, yeah, I mean, it is a new team, sure, but you can't play too much.
Mm-hmm. And Vanquish are here to win. You know, they're respecting their opponents. That Bastion ban tells me that they're not taking this team lightly. Now they can move forward though. Got the Annihilation at the ready. Or finds one Annihilation pop, finds another. Loki, he's the one picking up the kills, but all the damage is coming from this man right here. And once again, a team kill. Vanquish in control for the time being.
I'd like to see Error 404 maybe try something else. Maybe just, see if we can maybe switch up one character, see if it does something for us, that kind of thing. Oh my days.
I mean, how many times
Fable once again.
Yeah, how many times have we fallen into this trap, Lex, of being close to ultis and so feeling like you want to get that value and not want to switch and have all that time be wasted, but over time you start to learn that it's better just to be on the right comp than to have ultimates most of the time. As see the Deadeye ready to go here. I'm just going to back off with Fable. Yeah, that Pharah is kind of hard counted by the Widowmaker, as we know.
Yeah, the hit scan just... Fable is going to just run you every single time you just poke your head out. And holding onto that ultimate, you won't ever get a chance to use the ultimate.
Yeah. Oh, well, you say that, but I guess the implication is you won't ever be able to use that ultimate in a place that is actually useful. And that's exactly what we saw there. He gets taken down. So strong defense here from Vanquish, holding on that first corner. Error 404. They do finally make some switches here, but you sense it's too little too late.
Yeah, with 10 seconds left on the clock and Fable running the entire lobby right now, I'm not too sure they even make it to the point.
Yeah, it seems unlikely here as time ticks down. Fable just not able to get that kill on King Kelly thanks to that pesky lamppost, but this is going to be it for the attacking round of Error 404. A learning experience, it has to be said, Lex. These are mistakes we will all have made many times.
Definitely.
And that's the learning curve or learning journey you go on as an Overwatch player.
I think maybe the one thing that that Vanquish can take from this is maybe just learn to be more decisive and not stand in front where you're taking damage, because that is the biggest thing that I'm seeing from Error 404 is that they're taking this damage and they're not really doing much with it. They're just absorbing.
Yeah, totally agree. I think if you're going to run that Ryan as well, we said at the beginning, give him a Lucio. If you're going to do that, it makes such a big difference.
For sure.
As you know, as a Lucio enjoyer,
yes.
And as a person, me, with many hours of Ryan, that Lucio makes you feel like a superhero.
Oh yeah, and I've had many Ryan players beg me to play Lucio. Not that you have to ask too much. Not that you have to ask too much. Like, I will fold under zero pressure and play Lucio.
You don't pick the Lucio just so you can hear people beg for it, right?
Exactly, for sure. That's 100% the play.
Right, so Error 404 on the defense. What have we got here? We got the Junk, we got the Sombra. I like the Sombra pick. I think that is a cool wrinkle you can throw in, especially against the Widowmaker. They need to be careful here, watch their positioning, or Fable will make short work of them.
Yeah, the Curie I feel is a little bit overextended here and is... but Fable is down.
There we go, overextension. I don't know about that. It seems like that's exactly where you want to be hanging out. Apple needs to be careful here. Backs up. The hack does get punished. Not able to get it off to get that Mega healed up. I like the Junkrat though. It's a good pick for a team that's struggling to find a way in. You can kind of just set up, pump damage in from where they can't see you, but Salmon finds a kill onto Bobayan and now can run amok here in the enemy backline. Both supports the last to drop. Salmon, the main man here on the Ramatra, and that should be it. Error 404 not able to stand up to the might that Vanquish are showing in this match. It will be a 2-0 lead for the Panda City boys and girls.
Yeah, Panda City doing exactly what their name says, and they are busy vanquishing. And of course, Fable gets play of the game. I mean, we saw them take over this lobby.
Who else but Fable, really? Like, Salmon's been great, but Fable, he how many times, Lix, have you been in this situation as the opponent where you're just like, This Widowmaker's on something else, bro. We're not even playing the game here. You peek for 1 second, and then you sent back to spawn the quick way. So, yeah, it's rough. Good Widowmaker is not a fun thing to play into.
Yeah, Spawn Simulator is not the name of this game,
Yeah.
but somehow Fable made it that.
Absolutely. So you called it, though. You said the DPS players on this team are ones to look out for, and Fable stepping out in a big way. I think Salmon as well, looking incredible there. But the pressure isn't really there from Era 404 to make these guys struggle. And yeah, the damage tells the story here. Especially, that's more than double damage this time. Quite a bit more healing, and part of that is the Widowmaker on the opposing team. That doesn't give a lot of opportunity for healing. And then the damage block, both teams running shield, but the Ryan you'd expect to block a lot more damage. So I think everything makes perfect sense here from what we saw in game.
Yeah, I also think another thing that we pick up is the total damage from Arrow 404, but the lack of kills that was happening.
Yeah.
Which we can only assume is them shooting the tank rather than going for those squishies, which is another thing that maybe the this team can pick up from if they were to learn anything from this one-on-one.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and it kind of reflects in Vanquish's healing as well. You're probably just healing up the tank a bunch as well because he's taking a bunch of damage. And Salmon knows his limits, so he seems to know his limits. He's not overextending and putting himself at risk for the most part. So his team is able to keep him alive quite comfortably in the end. We do have our next map ready to go though, and it is going to be Dorado. So a nice big change here. Another Widowmaker map. It has to be said, long sight lines. High grounds that can be hard to assault a lot of the time. So we'll have to see what the bans end up being. But what are your thoughts on Dorado?
Yeah, so once again, long sight lines, lovely high ground. So we're probably going to see more poke and more dive, which actually should be said, on Hollywood we didn't see much of that. We didn't see the Sigma, we didn't see the Winston. Although those are characters that love to play on those high grounds, love to play those distances. Winston jumping in on those angles. But the Ramatra coming out from Salmon almost consistently might seem like a comfort pick.
Yeah, I think it probably is. He's probably like, if you don't make me not play it, I'm just going to play it and dominate on it. And fair enough, as we do see our hero bands coming through now. Vanquish, they take the Lucio out there. It seems like they were never really wanting to pick the Lucio on the side of Era 404, but Vanquish not taking any risks. The second most popular ban throughout this tournament after Diva. Era 404 with what you could only call a respect
I
ban.
have been informed that the Lucio ban was to troll me, and I'm feeling very trolled right now.
Yeah. Look at that, casters influencing games. Somebody should say something. That's not allowed, but you really feel like there's nothing Vanquish could ban that could increase their chance of winning this match.
Yeah, I think at this point Vanquish have a little bit of freedom with the bans. Era 404, however, really terrified of Fable on this Widowmaker, but they do not know about the Fable Ash.
Okay, it gets worse.
It gets worse.
It's just a flex. The Ash is the real. It's a red herring, a misdirection.
Yeah, I feel like they bait and switch here.
Their trap card.
Yeah. So actually, it looks like Fable might come out on the Echo here, but all I'm saying is Fable has a nasty Ash in the back pocket.
See if he feels like he needs to pull it out, because at this point you get the sense Vanquish are happy to try a few of their maybe not strongest heroes, not necessarily weak heroes, but of course we all have heroes we're better at and worse at. On the other side, I like the Ash from Bobian. I think that's a strong pick here.
Yes.
The Venture is interesting. I wonder what Apple's going to be able to do. Nope, false alarm.
Never mind, it's the Pharah.
False alarm, it's the Pharah. I think the Pharah is a strong hero, but they're struggling to find value on it against some very, very strong hit scan players.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely going to struggle out in this open. Not that many high ground to hide away from. And the Life Weaver with the Pharah kill.
Well, somebody had to get it, and he was getting shot by pretty much everybody on the team. So a little bit too aggressive of a movement here. Or was it going to be difficult? Do they find that kill? Yes. Loki gets a last hit onto the Ash of Bobian, and now they can move forward. That Sigma too far forward, or really getting pushed into, as once again Vanquish just pushing their way through this Aero 404 squad.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do now as this Aero 404 squad? This Vanquish team running the poke, well, some hybrid actually. I'm not really sure if you can call this poke, but they are quite aggressive with it. They're not leaving you any space. Yeah,
it's hard to secure kills as well with the Life Weaver in the mix. Oh my god, that one guy gets his world rocked here, and now we're trying to see some geometry here for if Salmon can get the balls to hit the right angles to find the hits inside the enemy spawn.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have Hanzo's simple geometry line anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But Salmon might be putting that in now. We have that one guy switching over to Ram, maybe trying to deal with the Sigma and the Eat, trying to get through that Eat with the punch. Maybe this makes a difference.
Yeah, I think I like the pick. I think what they need most right now is just a little bit of synergy. Just take a moment to pause and think about how you want to approach this, especially when you're running that Sombra. But it looks like you've switched off the Sombra now onto
cheeky
the
little bit of Bastion
as
tech.
well. Yeah, I don't mind this. I think this is good to see them adapting and responding to what Vanquish are doing, and you can see immediately Vanquish respecting them a little bit more and backing up here. They don't want to be caught out in the open against the Bastion.
Yeah, the adaptability is something a lot of Overwatch players, especially new ones, struggle with.
Yeah,
and I really like seeing that from a team like this. At least they're not trying to knock their head into the wall with the same thing over and over and over. Definitely,
and you wouldn't say that their compositions are necessarily what is making them struggle. I think it's very much a case of bigger, faster, stronger from Vanquish, both experientially and just skill-wise. A D.Va comes out. We haven't seen this hero much between the bans and just a general lack of the teams in this tournament liking it. She's kind of been pushed to the wayside, but I think it's a very strong hero in this situation, especially against Sebastian. But we're at such a disadvantage against ults, as we can see a lot of work being done by the Scorpidic Flux. Salmon just putting them under pressure. 1, 2, 3, count him up. He wants to take everybody down. That's a baby D.Va. He'll get that one as well. Thanks for the gift, friends. That's going to be it for this team fight. Just a minute left. Aero 404 struggling to find a way in.
Maybe at this point you just start playing for ult and see what you can get. Because Vanquish, they're just gonna keep running at you in the mid fight. They're just gonna keep their macro just also seems a little bit more put together.
Yeah, and that's probably the least surprising thing, right? Because you can get the sort of the pure mechanical skill from other games, especially if you play a lot of FPSs, but it's the detailed understanding of the ebb and flow of Overwatch that will come the slowest. So it makes perfect sense that the macro understanding of the game is a lot stronger here. What a great Tree of Life there to block Bob out, make sure he can do no damage, and even allows the team to get more aggressive. Wolverine not quite able to secure that final kill onto the enemy Ashe, and he will end up getting taken down. The Sebastian untouched on the high ground here, and that will be hit. And not too indecent push, it has to be said. From Aero 404, they've given themselves something to defend, but Vanquish will feel very confident coming into what might be the last push.
Yeah, I mean, Aero 404, they tried to make their changes, they tried to adapt. The D.Va was almost surely a response to that Bastion. At least they're thinking about it. At least they are, applying some thought, not just unga bunga, bash my brain, I'm going to walk out and die, and then walk out and die.
Yeah, for sure, and it's a good response to what we criticized them on Hollywood, right? We saw them do that. We've got ultis, let's try and make them work, even if the likelihood of making them work is extremely low. So I'd rather have a team switching up to try and find a comp that works for them rather than trying to, as you say, sort of brute force their way through. So on the defense here, I like what Aero 404 is, except for the fact that I might like something with the shield. So the Sigma feels like it would fit perfectly here with what their DPS and supports are doing here. We'll have to see if they can make this work. On the attack, though, Vanquish is saying, right, what's the time? It's bedtime for us. Let's get this wrapped up ASAP.
In bed by 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Vanquish squad are probably going to blow up this poor Junker Queen. Yeah, the Kiriko is definitely not enough healing to keep this Junker Queen sustained in the front line, and with a team as coordinated and disciplined as Vanquish, they will burn that Junker Queen down.
They absolutely will, but not if Apple has their say of things. As they pump the damage down the front line, they need to be careful here. There's a lot of incidental damage coming through, and yeah, Oki and Salmon already taking down both supports, and that's pretty much team fight over. At that point, it'll take a miracle to win from this position for any team, especially when there's kind of a big difference in the experience level of these two teams. So that is going to be it for this map. Vanquish, I think, performing exactly how they feel they probably should have, ticking off a win here, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, and taking the 3-0 victory here on Hollywood. So credit to Vanquish, they've proved here that they are the third best team in this group by quite a comfortable margin. But credit as well to Aero 404 for putting in a valiant performance.
Yes, no, lots of credit for them. They went into this knowing exactly what they're getting themselves into, and they still played and they still tried, and it never once looked like they just gave up and rolled over. So it seems like maybe they're just having fun, good mental as well, which is that's a sign of a team that can improve a lot.
Yeah, and I really hope they do. I think it's been so heartening to see all these new teams taking part in the qualifiers. It was always going to be difficult, but it's worth remembering as well, guys, we have another qualifier, as we keep mentioning, qualifier 2, and we've got our top 6 teams sorted out and out of the pool. So that means if you do take part in that second qualifier, you're likely to have a much better time than you did in these qualifiers. So that's exciting for us. It'll be exciting for the teams. And overall, it has been such an awesome time here. Before we sign off, Lex, you got to give me your MVP. Who stood out to you in this match?
So if I'm gonna say on Vanquish, I mean, we talked a lot about Fable, but Salmon also just very consistent, knows their limits, isn't feeding, is not as resource intensive, and I kind of want to give it to Salmon.
Okay, I can't disagree with that. I think Fable had the higher peaks. I think that play on Hollywood especially was real standout stuff, kind of putting a lot of different teams on notice that this team has a Widowmaker that you need to respect. But I think ultimately I agree with you, Salmon was just very, very consistent in his performances. He might not have died like once in this whole match, and he was always putting on pressure and picking up kills. So I agree with you, Salmon really, really stood out. So that is going to be it, guys, for pretty much our whole broadcast here for the Ethereal Crown Qualifier 1. You know how to get involved. You can head over to Twitter at ZA Overwatch. You can follow us on Twitch here if you haven't already. And all the VODs will be pushed over to YouTube. Credit to our people in the back here. We've got Lord of Terrans, we've had Blur observing. Last weekend we had Altruism, but most of the work gets done by the Peach today. So all the cool new features that you're seeing, like the stats and a whole bunch of backend stuff that you're also not seeing, Peach has been handling, and that has been awesome. And we had to fight our way through a ton of technical issues last time around as well. So there's so much work going on behind the scenes here. So if you liked what you see, guys, please give a big shout out to all the admins involved in organizing this, all the casters. You see that there are so many moving parts here that come together to make this all work. So before we sign off here, Lex, how would you assess how the tournament's been from your perspective, how your team performed, and all of those things? Are you looking forward to Qualifier 2? Do you think how good do you think your chance of making it through is? Where are you at the moment?
So yeah, our team, when we went into this, we weren't sure how it was going to go. We had no read on most of the teams in our group. And then having performed the way we did, we are feeling pretty confident for the second qualifier. I think we have a good chance of making it, but that might also be a little bit of team bias.
Well, look, you came third in your group, right? You went 9 and 6 in maps. So on paper, I feel like you're a front runner for sure in terms of your results. Actually,
I think it's a one map differential between us and Crimson.
Yeah, damn, that is tight. Of course, Crimson did win more series, so that one map they won over you was the difference there. So yeah, I think you guys have a lot of reason to feel positive. Right, so we do also have all of our teams decided now. Our top 6 heading over through to the LAN in October at 80k Arena in Cape Town. It is going to be Inglorious Blasters and VA Crimson from Group A. It's going to be 5 nights at LAN over Rage Quit Anomaly in Group B, a match we got to see that really delivered on the promise. And then we've got from Group C, Pink Salamanders and EA Pangolins. I think credit to Crimson and credit to Pangolins as the two teams who we weren't sure who was going to go through, and they go through, so they get to avoid that grueling potential second qualifier. But thanks so much again for joining us, guys. As I said, September 7th, we'll have our second qualifier, the weekend of September 7th and 8th. So if you're excited for more Overwatch, that's the place to join us. Join us on Twitter. Head over to the YouTube to catch all the VODs. And then, of course, the main place to be is the Discord, the Chaos Discord. Nightbot will be putting that in chat. You can also see we've got a Liquipedia page if you want to keep up with the tournaments. So please head over there if you need any information or refreshers on results. But thanks so much for joining us again, guys. We look forward to seeing you in, wow, God, who knows, 3-4 weeks time, September 7th and 8th, to see who get our final spots for the Overwatch 2 LAN.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time.
Wow.